And going live on YouTube in 3, 2, 1. It says you're live. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk Power BI. Today is the Q&A session, so good to have you here. I'm just gonna hang on a second, wait for a few more of you to join, and you know what? Let me. So if you are watching us online, then do put it in the chat box. Let us know you can hear us. You can see my screen. Things are looking good. Do say where you are watching us from. I love hearing that. Well, this is Avi from Seattle. And yeah, good to have you guys on. All right, so let's see. Let me pop out the chat box here. I'll put it on way over here. There we go. And Ali says hi. Mayank says hello. Good to have you guys on. And let's see, who do we have from our Learn Power BI community. All right, Robin says hello from Houston. Florent is here. Yeah, let me just say hi to everybody on our phone line. So we have Florent, we have Gray, Ian is here, one of our speakers from the Power BI conference. Johannes is here, and Robin. Awesome, so that's great. And Florent is calling from Montreal. All right, the crowd is showing up now. So Prasoon says hi, Avi, love and blessings from India. Thank you, my friend, much appreciated. Ali says, please explain. Oh, okay, jumping into Power BI report server. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm ready to dive into that yet. Essays, it started now. Yes, we're on, my friend. Ali is calling in from Iran. Mayank is from Houston, Texas. Tom is here from California. Arthur Faye is from Montreal. Julie says hi from Missouri. First time? Woot. Just learning Power BI. That is an awesome place to be. Joel Maserena says hi. Scott Walter says hi from Connecticut. Timber is from Atlanta. Liam. Oh, wow. Hot damn. Okay. Mohammed says this is Numan from Dubai. Hans, hi from Netherlands. Ali, hi from Malaysia. I'm new to data science. I want to know how powerful is the Power Editor. Guys, can you help me out? So folks watching on YouTube, what's going on with this light? This is way too bright. It's shining off my forehead. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna call out my all of my YouTube friends. So help Haroon go out. He wants to know how powerful the Power Editor is. I don't know what to say, man. I love this stuff. I think this is the best thing ever. Most of my colleagues tell me how to use Toad. Oh, God, no, don't use Toad. No, just kidding. Hey, they're all different tools. So Toad is sorry, I mean, that takes me to kind of SQL land and all that stuff, right? I mean, yeah, you know what? Hold on to that one. We'll come back to that. But folks, yeah, if you have thoughts, then help Haroon out. Samuel says hi from UK. Haroon is here from South Africa. Wow. Man, I love that part. Frankly, I love that part about YouTube and being connected to people all over. Although, folks, there's a problem. So frankly, YouTube, we kind of hang out and we have the chat and we have the students dial in, and I love it. But what about the rest of the time, right? What about outside of that? I still want to hang out with you, and sometimes I have these weird bolts of inspiration or something going on in my life, and I want to share it with you. And YouTube hasn't been my friend there. So if you will please, then go to my profile on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn/in/Avi Singh. Did you know that's my full name? My book is published under that name, Avi Singh. So I talk to a lot of people who don't know. He's like, oh, wait, Avi Singh, you're that guy? And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so follow me there, and I'm starting to get a little more active again. YouTube, right outside of this live, like, how do I connect with you guys? Like, how do I, if I need a hug, or if you need a hug, right? So yeah, and frankly, yeah, it's so yeah, follow me there. And that way we can exchange hugs. All right. Okay. So hi from Madagascar. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough for the highs. So guys, this is Q&A. We're here to answer your questions And I love that part. Nothing makes me happier to be able to help you. Right? That's what I'm here for. So one of my recent posts on LinkedIn was about being a servant teacher. Where's my video? Hold on, let me share my screen. This guy. Okay, there we go. All right, so I had a post about being a servant teacher, and I had read about servant leader. That's that word has been around. I hadn't heard of servant teacher, so maybe I coined it. Who knows? Probably not. But still, I had that thought. I'm like, wow, that's powerful. So yeah, so I'm here to serve. So as part of that, folks, is just I can serve you better if you kind of step up as well. So if you join me in my Learn Power BI family, we're gonna have a closer community. You're gonna have my structured program. So Learn Power BI enrollment has been open this week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the new members who joined in. I'm so excited to have you on board. And for those of you who joined me in the conference, I don't know. I mean, that was a huge shift for me because somehow everything that happened in the conference, it was really powerful, but I'm more committed to my mission. And folks, my mission is not to teach you DAX and M, right? So, and again, I mean, if that makes you upset or if that makes you you don't want to leave or something, right? I hope not, right? Because I've realized that that's just a stepping stone, right? So I want to go all the way. I want to take you all the way. So we're going to slowly kind of shift the program and evolve it more to be focused about how to become a successful Power BI professional. And there are other elements which I'm going to bring in there, work with the students, and anybody who's been around me for a while, you know how it works. I mean, I practice what I preach, right? So I talked about that agile approach, and I'm going to bring it in. So yeah, so Learn Power BI enrollment is open. Today is the last day. Again, thank you for everybody who joined. For those who would like to join the Learn Power BI family, it is super freaking awesome. Just go to learnpowerbi.com, and at the top is how you can get your invite. Now, if you want to check out, it's kind of hidden away. It should be, maybe I should just make it the homepage, because under free resources, there is free inspiration. Kind of a weird, weird spot, weird thing. I call it the wall of inspiration. That's what it's titled. And folks, yeah, I mean, you hear stories of kind of success and, kind of inspiration stories and all the love the students pour in for us. So yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, we're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. Okay, so Q&A. Let's get into it. So how does Q&A work? Q&A works if you go to talkpowerbi.com. It works based on you pre-submitting a question and then being here. And folks, we realize that that's kind of a high bar. I mean, that's the best that we have figured out so far. Now, there are other options. On all of the pages, there's this contact me button, and that's going to let you reach out to us for paid Power BI consulting. And then you're going to have somebody immediately connected with you. And in a private call, no need to, kind of send anything or anonymize data or scrub anything, right? So if you want that fast help, then click on the contact me button at the top of any of the page, and there you go. It's like rubbing the genie lamp, and yeah, genie shall appear. All right, so that's that. But this one, this is the best format we have figured out. So pre-submitted questions, we go for that first, and pre-submitted questions by students. Well, we go for that one first. All right, okay, cool. So if you click on this, this is where the pre-submitted question is, and I usually sneak a peek at it to see what's going on. I didn't get a chance today, so it's going to be a surprise. Okay, yeah, there are questions. That's good. Wow, what's going on? It's kind of slow. So first, let me call out our friends on the phone. So let's see. Oh, a few more shout outs. Gary from UK, Johannes from Iceland. Yeah. As a Power BI frame on top of the bed. Yeah. Yeah. So folks, some people were asking me like, oh, are you in a new place? Well, so I used like these roller blinds. I still sometimes do when I don't make up my bed. but yeah, isn't that cool? That's not actually, yeah, that's this weird thing we came up with to signify breakthrough success. Anyway, yeah. So the one arrow is kind of pushing out of the boundaries, like breaking free. So yeah, not quite the Power BI Lego, but yeah, that's what it is. Awesome. All right, focus, Avi. Questions, Q&A. So yeah. So let's see. Where did my Zoom go? There it is. Mm, awesome. So anybody on the phone? Florent, Gary, Ian, Johannes, Robin, and Sam. Did you guys have anything that you pre-submitted? I mean, if you didn't pre-submit it, if you have a question, maybe we'll let you take a jump as well. But
Yeah, Avi, I had one in there, I think.
oh, awesome.
That's
Okay,
good.
Gary's got one in there as well.
okay, got
I
it.
had
So
one as well.
oh wait, so who was the third one? I got Ian, Gary, and
Sam.
all right, Ian, Gary, Sam. Okay, got it. So let's do this, guys. Oh man, Jeffrey Wong, that guy was so phenomenal. I'm still reeling from that. Folks in the YouTube, how many of you were there for the Jeffrey Wang show? God, that was incredible, huh? Talk about trying to follow that up with this Q&A. Anyway, I'll try my best, folks. Uh, so we have Ian, we have Gary, and Sam, and folks on YouTube, we'll get to you. Promise. Just hang out, have fun, enjoy the show, and again, sometimes you're gonna find that you learn so much more from others' questions. So be open to that, right? So don't just like, oh, when is he gonna answer my question? Avi, can you get to my question? Yeah, this is more of a hangout than anything. And again, if you need immediate help, then the contact me button, the genie lamp, rub that genie lamp. Okay, all right. So let's get back here. I'm gonna close this window, and what is this? Okay, go away. Show menu, and I'm gonna search for Ian. Nope. Mm. Hmm. Hey Ian, tell me a bit about what you submitted. I'm having trouble finding it here. Oh, you're in mute, I think.
All right, now I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can tackle it another time if you want, but because if you can't find it in there, but essentially it's this. So we talk a lot about the star schema,
Yeah.
and usually, ideally, that's got one fact table, right? But when you get into certain things like project management, especially, but there are lots of other use cases where you've got multiple fact tables, sometimes many more than two, and they all have some interaction. And so,
Mm-hmm.
just any thoughts you had on some best practices, some watch out fors as you're starting to deal with multiple fact tables in a model. And any, if you want to tailor it, especially around projects, you got schedules, you got costs, you got budgets, things along those lines would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's take that on. So, mm, mm, mm. So you're kind of asking about the star schema. How do you handle with multiple fact tables, especially around project management? Okay, cool. And tell me a bit of what you said. Like, what does it generally involve? Kind of cost? I
Yeah,
heard.
so often a project will have costs associated with it,
Mm-hmm.
um, resource time associated with it, schedules are, obviously a big piece of a project,
Yeah.
budgets sometimes, which
Yeah.
can align with cost or can be separate.
All right. So guys, hey, this I have a feeling it's gonna be good because this goes to the core of Power BI and it starts with the model. And the easiest way to think of a model for me, the model is pretty much what I see in the relationship view. And I'm trying really hard to open up a sample on the site. Hold on, I'll bring it up on the screen. In 3, 2, 1, almost there. There we go. Come on, Power BI. Oh, there we go. All right. So when I think of the model, I mean, obviously it's a concept as well, but it is visually, this is how I see it. And if you've seen me on these calls, and frankly, even outside of these calls, anytime I'm talking to a student or a client, they start talking about something, and I sometimes stop them. I mean, politely if I can, right? And they say, well, before we start, do you mind showing me a relationship view? Because that speaks volumes to me. So this one is important. And the term that Ian used, that is accurate. Star schema is what we use. But please don't make it look like a star. So students, no, not students. Well, yeah, folks. I mean, sometimes they would have like these tables all scattered all over and all this stuff, and it looks like a star, right? With this and the kind of the what are they called, tentacles or whatever. Don't make it look like that. It is a star schema, but you can ignore that word and lay it out so that it's laid out in terms of data tables at the bottom and lookup tables at the top. And that's a whole other discussion. Like, how do I figure out which one is a data table? We'll see. Right. So and that's it. Right. So and by the way, my lookup tables are small, even if they have a lot of columns, to remind me that they are squat tables. They don't have that many rows. And data tables, I make them tall to remind me that data table are generally kind of lanky. They're thin. They're not supposed to have that many columns. And they can be tall. They can be hundreds of millions of rows, right? So that visually, so again, I mean, this is so important that every single time I lay it out this way. No exceptions, pretty much. All right, so as far as multiple data tables to go, I mean, there's a simple answer. The simple answer is to follow exactly the structure. I mean, this is the standard way. So data tables, in this case, we have budget and we have sales. So data tables, and yeah, please don't connect two data tables together in a relationship, right? And they should be connected through common lookup tables. And again, lookup tables are going to be who, what, where, when, how. So these are durable entities. And sometimes people are so focused on solving something that they say, and they're too close to the problem. So if you find yourself doing that, take a deep breath. All right, take a deep breath and step back, right? So when I'm talking to people and they're like, "Oh, Avi, I've been working on this for a week and it's not working," and it's like, "Oh, if I take the kind of the promotion key and put it on a lookup table, would that work?" And that's the wrong way to think about things, because you're just thinking about solving the problem. Modeling doesn't work that way, right? I mean, modeling doesn't really care about your problems. Modeling is really reflecting the real world, representing that in your model. So you should be asking different questions. So again, step back from the report or the line graph you're trying to do, or the matrix that is not working, and I'm like, oh my god, why is this blank, right? Or something crazy like that. Step back from that. And modeling should really start on a piece of paper or on whiteboard. And then you say, well, what is the process that I'm capturing, right? So that's going to be your data table. So that's what data tables do, right? They capture something about a process, right? So, sales, warehouse shipments, something like that, right? So they give you information about that. And then related to that process, so now we have a data table. Think about the who, what, where, when, how, right? So if it's sales, well, who is buying it, right? And what are they buying? When are they buying? Where are they buying? And maybe there's a how as well, like for the sale or something, right? So think about, and now there can be multiple who's, multiple what, where, when, how. That makes it really interesting. I won't go too deep into that, but if you think about it, it's like sales, cool, who is buying? But we could also have another who, like who is selling, who is the sales associated, who kind of was that cash register, or the salesperson involved, right? So that could be another who. Maybe there could be other who's as well. And think about the what. And like what is clear, right? There's just one what. What are they buying? No, not necessarily. What if you're in a kind of a B2B system where the customer ordered one thing, but that was out of stock, so we had to ship in a different part. And in a lot of these scenarios, right? I mean, and think about when. That's a classic one, right? So when did they buy it? Again, on the surface, you would think that, oh yeah, that's it. Then when did they buy? But well, when did they add it to their checkout cart? When did they actually check out? When did they, right? I mean, maybe payment is by invoice. So when did we receive payment? When did we actually ship it out? When did they receive it? So there are a lot of when. So multiple who, what, where, when, hows. And again, this is all kind of covered in the course and so forth. But yeah, that's kind of modeling. So as far as from that perspective is concerned, data tables simple. I mean, multiple fact tables or data tables, they should be kind of sitting side by side, and they should be connected with a common who, what, where, when, how. So let's go back and I don't know if in Excel or somewhere, but let's see. Let's see. So there is cost, there is resource time, there is schedule, and there's budget. Schedule I'm a little flaky on, so let's see. So cost, resource time, budget, and schedule. So let's put those ones there. So cost, resource, kind of time, and budget. Okay, so let's say these are our data tables. So these ones, some nice color. Let's go with that. So what is going to be the who, what, where, when, how? I mean, what could be the project itself, I guess? That one is a little tricky because the cost and the resource time and the budget, maybe we can tackle one at a time. Maybe we wouldn't do all three or all four. What was the other one? Schedule. So the granularity of how it's captured. Ian, help me out. Like it's is it like, I mean, some of these things I'm thinking will be more granular, right? They will be not at a project level, but maybe a sub-level of project, which could be, and I
Yeah,
don't know how many
almost all of
sub-levels they
them.
have, like
Almost
project,
all of them are.
task. So what is the hierarchy for project? Like what is so there's a project name, I don't know, building the Washington Monument, right? So that's a project name, but what is the sub-level of that? Is it task? And we can keep it simple for now if you want.
Yeah, a task which is usually associated with a schedule, and so you could actually think of that schedule table
Okay.
as tasks.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So schedule table is based on kind of a task which is part of a project. Okay.
Yeah.
Project task. And then schedule table is going to have a start date, end date?
Yep. Usually multiple start and end dates.
Wait, for
Excuse me.
each task?
Yeah, so there could be things like expected start date,
Oh, okay,
actual
good, got it, got
start
it.
date, yada yada.
Got it. Okay, got it. All right, all right. So project task. So this one is so yeah, it's a grain. We talk about that in our advanced course. There's a whole module talking about different grain. We'll get into it. But so that's that. I feel it. And then what about the budget? Is that also more granular than project?
Budget, yes, it is, and it
Okay.
tends to be usually a monthly kind of value.
Oh, okay, okay. But so as far as project is concerned, it's at the grain is project, right? So this is the what, right? So let's put that in here. So I'm trying to match the grain who, what, where, when, how, right? So who, what, where, when, how. Man, actually, this is the first time I'm, at least doing it in public outside of my head, you know.
Yeah.
So this is the what. The what you're talking about is when. That's a different lookup table, right? So that one is. Oh, actually, I should color them differently. I don't know what. Something nice, purple. No. Orange. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, so project, and we have like a month, and then amount dollar, right?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Let's take a stab at resource time. So what is this gonna look like? Yeah, what is it gonna say?
This is often about a like a timesheet, right? A person
Uh,
that's spending time on the project.
so person for sure, and then what is it gonna say? Like project, or is it gonna be task at that level?
It can be either,
Okay.
depending.
For
Let's
now,
leave it
let's
as
keep it a
task.
project. Yeah, and just ours, right?
Yeah.
And just curious, so in your mind, or how it usually works, is it just kind of historical, like this is how ours worked, or this is future as well, projected? Maybe
It,
that schedule.
yeah, it can be. That's so there's kind of a budget aspect to time, just like there's a budget aspect to dollars. But I figured
Yeah.
I'd keep it a little lighter and
So I realize
most
it's going.
historical.
Yeah. So this is going to be more granular, right? Not at a month, maybe at a date level.
Yeah, this is often day by day or hour by hour, right? It's just an entry that says I spent this much time on
Yeah.
this day, for example,
Got it.
on this
Got it. I'm
project.
feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. Talk to me about cost.
Cost is often material cost. So if it's
Okay.
not just a person's time, but materials that are going in as well.
So it's going to say for this project, I spent on this item, like the material
Mm-hmm.
name or something like that.
Yep.
And then the dollar amount
Yep.
and probably a date as well. Date, month, something, right?
Yeah, and more. Who'd you get it from? All that kind of stuff. But we don't need to worry about all
Yeah.
of that.
Actually, I'll put that supplier, let's say, right? Okay, cool. So, folks, so again, I mean, I'm kind of feeling this. I mean, it's feeling right. It feels like I'm swimming downstream, which is good, right? So this is feeling like a kind of a process, and yep. So you can probably already see kind of the who, what, where, when, how. You can see the common who, what, where, when, how. So what is project, which is appearing here, here, and here? This one is a little different because it's a task level. So we'll come back and talk about that. So so is there anything else? So who, maybe who is could be the person, like the staff or employees or something,
Mm-hmm.
and
Usually there's a project lead or something along those
so
lines.
I'm really thinking this connection, like this becomes kind of a lookup table, right? So that's that, and then who, what, where. Maybe in some cases you would have a where, like location of the project, something like that, or yeah, we'll ignore that for now. So who, what, where. Oh, so this is looking fairly good. So now project. So yeah. So generally, man, obviously. So if we connect, let's see if I can draw some arrows. These guys. So we would connect project to project, right? And oh god, let's try something else. hmm Maybe do simpler arrows. Sorry. So project we connect here. This connects to project as well. Oop, too big. And I think all of them definitely connect to project for sure. Oh, and this guy connects as well. Oh boy. All right, you get the idea. Um, oh man, I'm really struggling with arrows here. Let's see, maybe straight arrows. There we go. This guy. So project connects there, and project connects there. So what common lookup tables do is they help you slice and dice any of the data table now together. So if we come back to kind of the sales and budget, right? So because we have these common lookup tables, like product is common to both of them, right? So product is linked to sales, product is linked to budget, and calendar, I think. Yep. So calendar is linked to budget, and calendar is linked to sales. By having those common lookup tables, you can slice and dice them together, right? I mean, you can put Oh, well, it doesn't have that, but we could add kind of budget right here and right next to each other. So that's what we want. So once we connect this to project, and again, we'll worry about the grain in a little bit, is then you can slice and dice across this, show them together, and not just that, do math across these tables if you needed to. For example, just as in this case, we could do sales minus budget, right? I mean, they're different tables, right? And just by the fact that they're connected through common tables, we could say, give me the variance, sales minus budget, and you can drive that, slice and dice that by common lookup tables. So once you have sales, sum of sales amount, budget, sum of budget amount, and then you can define, variance, which is sales minus budget. And then you can slice and dice and say, show me by category, show me by list price, show me by model name, or show me by month, year, all of that. Same way, you could kind of slice and dice this way. So like, show me budget, show me schedule, show me the total kind of schedule time versus, or material cost versus, costs that were budgeted or something like that. So you could do that. And of course, the ones that connect to calendar, so date, this one does. Actually, all of them do. Yeah, so this one is a little tricky though. This one, watch out for this guy. So so these three, let's connect these two as well. So these ones are gonna connect to this. These ones are straightforward. Really straightforward. So once you connect to the calendar, then you can ask questions like, okay, show me the total cost for by year 2020, show me by month, right? Show me January, February, March, show me a quarter, all of that, right? So you could do that. And the same thing with resource time, same thing with budget. And if you want to do kind of math across this, you could. So you could drive it that way. This, hold on, don't let me forget this, I'll come back to it. And then who person is for now, it's only this one. So the rule is that, like for example, if sales, if you look at customer, it is not connected to budget. It is only connected to sales. So it makes sense. I mean, for me, it feels like common sense, but you know what they say about common sense, it's very uncommon. So it makes sense that we can slice and dice sales by customer for sure because it's connected, but we can't slice and dice budget by customer. It just wouldn't make sense. And that's why if you have any kind of hybrid measures, any like variance, which is sales minus budget, you obviously could not kind of slice and dice it by customer because one part of it doesn't work. So the same way here, I mean, if you have a table which is only connected to one of these, and then you say, show me the resource time by person, it'll show you a number, but then you say, show me the budget by person, and obviously wouldn't work. So that's the common rules and so forth. So cool. So how does it feel so far, Ian?
Good. You keyed a word, triggered a word for me that was hybrid measures.
Yeah,
right?
the variance.
And so there's in these in projects especially, there's a lot of hybrid type measures where you're working across things, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe just another couple moments on thoughts about hybrid measures, thoughts about best practices for hybrid measures.
Yeah, so folks,
what to watch out for with them.
Yeah. So folks, we're gonna dip our toe in the deep end a little bit now. So if you're a beginner, boy, you might want to tune out or bookmark it for later. So the right answer in Power BI is always it depends. So it's like, oh yeah, do I do DAX or Power Query? Do I do measure, calculate, column? And of course, I give you. For beginners, I always give you a default. I say by default, you should always use measures for your math, right? Don't do a calculated column. Don't do it in Power Query. Default for math should be measures. If you're doing calculation, summing it up, something like that should be measures. But man, I mean, once you get deep into it, there are lots and lots of exceptions, right? Lots of scenarios where you can't quite say that, and you go, things like that, right? So here, I'll just take sales and budget for now. So generally, I say, oh my God, please don't flatten everything. So people do that. What they do is they kind of smash all of their data tables together. And usually folks coming in from an Excel approach, and they just smash everything together. And, like sales, budget, everything in like a single table. And generally, that's a very bad idea. And generally, that's a bad bad way to think about modeling. It's all right, Party. So that's a bad way to think about things, right? So I really caution beginners to do that. But once you're beyond that, then you can have a little more fun, let's say, right? So then you can say, maybe we can have sales and budget together. So I have built models where not only was sales and budget in the same data table, in fact, I think it's covered in the advanced module in our Power BI lessons, where we have not just sales and budget together, but we have forecast in there as well. And of course, folks who are in the finance, or at least what I saw was that budget, they would set the budget at the beginning of the year, but then they would have a forecast, kind of a revised forecast, right? Current forecast that based on current conditions, this is what we think, and every quarter. And sometimes they would even have a monthly forecast, right? So you would have a lot of these numbers, like a lot of these different numbers, right? So if you say, show me dollars for 2020 January, I'd be like, well, what do you want to see? Do you want to see the actuals, right? Do you want to see the budget that we did at the beginning of the fiscal year, or do you want to see the last forecast, right? It was some, and again, it was all in one table, and it worked. But again, I mean, there's a little bit of balance of when you do you smash tables together. Um, so in some cases, it might make sense. Like I can't, for now, it's not coming intuitively to me, and it's often you have to kind of get in there. You have to look at the actual data structure. You have to look at the columns. One thing that I look for is like how much commonality is there. There are other things that I look for too, right? But sometimes you smash it together and it works better. So we'll leave that one for now. But hybrid measures, in theory, they are really, really simple. It's so think about hybrid measures. So let's just go over there, and let's do this. So let's go sales by country, and let's change this to a table, and make it country. Yeah, let's remove region. We have that. And we're gonna have something here. Big, nope. There we go. All right, so we have sales. Let's make it even bigger. Oh, actually, well, I just realized we don't have budget by country. We should have, but we don't. So, of course, when you break the rules, so I don't want to start off this way, but this is what things look like. So, of course, the folks who are in the course, they know that I talk about this as the repeating number pattern. And it's often, not always, but often sign of a problem, right? So again, not always. Sometimes this is the intended result, but often when I see this, I go, man, something went wrong. And of course, so in this case, so how do you debug? When I see a repeating number pattern, there are a few things that I check. One of the first things is there a relationship between these tables, right? So the table where I'm doing the math and the table which I'm using to kind of slice and dice it. And of course, I know for this one that, so if you look at territories, which is where country is coming from, it's only got one relationship, which is to the sales table. So there's no relationship. That's what you see, right? So here I'm breaking kind of a cardinal rule of using multiple data tables. And hybrid measures is the same thing, right? I mean, hybrid measures is something we have multiple data tables. So you shall not, you shall only use the common lookup tables to slice and dice it. So really that's the key thing. So country, if you don't, then you're going to get into trouble like this. And let's put in variance here. So this is where sometimes things go wrong, sometimes terribly wrong, and I'll tell you guys. So actually let's get it to working again. So now if I go back and come back to something that was a common lookup table, and the common lookup tables were calendar and product. So for now, let's just see product subcategory maybe. So if I bring in a subcategory, then you can see it just works, right? Again, no repeating number pattern. And of course, I mean, when I'm really building the model, then I don't take it for like, oh yeah, it looks like it's working. I sometimes validate. And again, I mean, these one are like really simple measures, some of this. So often I wouldn't validate it, but if it's something a little more complicated, I'll just kind of validate it. And some of you have seen me do that. I mean, my favorite way of kind of debugging, validating, is that I would have an Excel file connected to this guy, this model that I'm working on. And I've shown you how to do that. So that's pretty straightforward. So I would just kind of validate, cross-check. But yeah, so common lookup table, and again, if as long as you're using common lookup tables, you can go to town, right? So I can do it by, so let's change it to a matrix, and I can have like category and subcategory. I can throw in months. You can slice and dice any which way you want, right? So let's put month in the columns, which is going to make it go crazy, I think. But yeah, right. So again, I mean, obviously, I'm not building something pretty here. But how do you get the plus icons here? I love those. They should be the default plus. Right. So yeah. So you can. Oops. Let's try that again. So I have things from my product table and things from my calendar table, right? The January, February, and everything works. So again, I mean, if you drive using the common lookup tables, everything works. But if you go outside of that, then we saw how it broke, right? So let's go back to that and bring back the country thing. So now if we go country, so again that was, and again you can bring in something from customer, it'll have the same result because it's not common to both. So with country, we got the repeating number pattern. Now this is where sometimes things can go horribly wrong, and I'm pretty sure I've done it. That's why it's like, so I'm so emotional about it. Which is this. So I'm gonna take off the budget for now, and actually even take out the sales. And look at this. It's a hybrid measure, but, well, actually there's some oddity, like these guys are same, but at a glance, it is not the repeating number pattern that I talk about as a red flag. And this is can be a big gotcha. And if you know what you're doing, then you're never gonna step into this, but this can be a big gotcha. So generally, when you use a measure from the table that's you're not connected to, right? So you're using country or territory here, and you use a measure here. What do you get? You get a repeating number pattern. Again, I'll bring it back. So we'll come back here, and I'll bring back budget, right? So if you have the measure from the wrong table, I have a joke which is, well, kind of true. It's like, as far as DAX goes, nothing is wrong, right? I mean, DAX is always right. DAX is showing you the right number, So, yeah, but from human perspective, right? So it's easy to say, but so if you use the measure from the wrong table, then you can spot it right away. But sometimes if you're using hybrid measures and you're not careful, then you can drag and drop something and you wouldn't detect it because it wouldn't have that repeating number pattern, which is often easy to detect. I mean, obviously, if you chart it, it's going to look like a freaking flat line in hard to miss. Like, what's going on? Our budget is static over every month, right? So just watch out for that one. So yeah, that's it. I mean, maybe there are other gotchas, but that's the best I can think of for hybrid measures. Hopefully that helped, Ian.
Thank you. Thanks for tackling.
Okay, so folks, the last one, man, this is so fun. I love this one. In fact, I love it so much. I think I have a whole module on this. So let's see if I can find it. So again, it's in the advanced Power BI lesson. So folks, those of you who are in my program or have hung around with me enough, the logic that I've followed is that the core course, Learn Power BI, that one focuses on the core 20% of the concepts, which give you 80% of the results. And that's true. And so that one, by definition, is always going to be compact. We don't want that to have kind of bloat, and we don't want to keep adding kind of modules to it and so forth, because then it wouldn't hold true to its promise. And not just that, it wouldn't serve my students well, because I know that starting out, a huge problem, and tell me if you're dealing with it, can be overwhelmed. Right? I mean, yeah. How many times do you feel kind of overwhelmed, and do you feel like, oh my God, there's so much to do, so much to learn. Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. So we don't want to subject our students to that. We definitely don't. We want the opposite of that. So that's why the advanced stuff is we kind of put it away for those who want to go there. And again, it's an option. It's not like you have to. People get a lot of value out of the main course. So, oh yeah. So start date, end date. So I'm gonna point out to two things here. So again, power patterns, right? So if you go to this, I think there's a search box as well. So just look for pattern, right? So you search for that, and yeah, power patterns. So that one talks about two things. One, it talks about data tables at different grain. And again, I love this problem because it happens all the time in real life, right? So for example, I hear from people all the time where they say that, oh, Avi, I cannot connect my budget to my to the ultimate calendar table because budget is at month, and I'm trying to connect the month budget month with the month table in the ultimate calendar table, and it's not letting me do that, and I'm stuck, right? So but they're stuck because they're not understanding what they're dealing with. They're understanding with data at a different grain, right? I mean, this one cost is, or resource time is at date level. It's like, oh, January 1, I worked for 8.5 hours on this task, whereas this one is a month level. It's a different grain. And the same thing with here, project and task, they're at a different grain, right? I mean, project is more granular, task is well, task is more granular, project is kind of higher level. And again, I love this pattern because it happens in real life all the time. For example, look at budget. So here, and the problem that I'm talking about actually exists in this model. I do not introduce it in the core lesson because I feel it's a little too much, but it already exists. So I continue on from there in the advanced lesson. I say, hey guys, you may have noticed it, you may not have noticed it, but now let's talk about the, kind of the gorilla in the room, which is the budget. You often do not set a budget at a product SKU level. Who in their right minds would do that? Nobody, right? You pick like a bigger category. It's like, yep, we're gonna sell these many of our bicycles or something like that, and you don't do it at SKU level. Nobody does it at SKU level. Budget, you might for customer, so something like that. So this problem of different grain. So that's there in data tables at different grain, and the other thing again, I mean, start date, end date. Oh my God, there's so in any industry you can think of. I mean, HR, kind of sales, project management, any single thing you can think of, you're gonna run into this a pattern where you have kind of start date and end date. And the challenge becomes, so again, folks who are starting out who are used to working with tables like this, all of this, oops, sorry, like this, they're used to taking the date field connecting up here. But now you go like, oh, so now what they try to do is they connect the start date to the calendar, and now they can see all the tasks scheduled with that start date. Or they can say, oh, which task is scheduled to start in this month. That can be useful information, but they're often looking for something else, right? Or they, connect the end date and then they can get the answer for end date. That's not obviously what they're going for. They're going for something else, like how many total hours in this month, like elapsed time or something. So that one is here. And Ian, I have a feeling this wouldn't get you home all the way because I think project management is just slightly different than the examples I've covered. If that is the case, come back, man. Let's talk more because then I could I could add something and extend it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting that feeling. Because I think it came up earlier, and at that time I remembered thinking that, oh yeah, I didn't get to that. So check it out and then see how it goes. All right.
Hey, thank you.
All right, folks. So hey, that was a good one. That one gets a gold star, and folks, yeah, the gold star. This is what I love. I love, I don't like hypothetical stuff. Sometimes people, Avi, look at this measure, it's not working, and I'm like, what does this measure do? I was like, no, I was just playing around with DAX. I'm like, get out of here, So I have no interest in that. I'm like, it has to be a real business scenario. Clearly, Ian is here talking about that. I mean, he works with kind of project management, supporting business, all of that stuff. And it seems kind of straightforward. It's it doesn't take you 30 minutes to explain, but it isn't. And in the conference, I heard the words of the legends, Marco Russo, Alberto Ferrari, the Italians, echoed. I'm not sure I 100% agree with it, but it was about DAX, and the line was, "It's simple, but it's not easy," which, by the way, they got from one of their students. And yeah, so it's awesome, right? I mean, so simple but not easy. I don't know. I mean, I don't quite think this way, so I'm not gonna write this line. Words are powerful, my friends. Your words become your reality. So be careful with the words you use, right? So if you say it's not easy, it's never gonna be easy for you. The way I like to think about it is, it's like riding a bicycle. So if you get somebody who doesn't know how to ride a bicycle and you ask them, "Hey, is it easy?" What do you think they're gonna say? But what if once you do learn, is it easy? So yeah, I mean, you get to choose, right? So again, so words are powerful. If you say, "Oh, Dax is hard, Dax is hard, Dax is hard," guess what? It's always going to be hard for you. All right, so take a deep breath. Let's go on. So let's see. So yeah, it's a gold star. Oh, gold star. Yes. So gold star here, and let's go to Gary. Let's go to Gary, and hopefully I can find your. I have better luck finding your question here. Yay! All right. Okay, Gary, unmute yourself. I want to make sure we can chat.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Thank you for sending a file. Oh, well, it didn't work. Should I request access?
Shouldn't have done.
Yeah, the link doesn't work. You can send something here in the chat if you like. But let's see. Place Excel formula. In Excel, I check multiple columns depending on the context of different text result. Okay, so I mean I have a gut feel for this.
So it's basically, just looking in different tables and giving a result depending on what's in those tables. So in Excel, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
If or and, but it's probably just as easy in Power BI, just different. And I'm very new.
Yeah. How to calculate a complicated. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so cool. So we're gonna keep that. Well, so I do have a short answer, which let me see. If sales stage is booked, then activate. I'm looking at your measure. If sales stage is 6 booked, and activate total 0, provision total is 0, onboarding. What is the return value here? Sorry, help me process. You're checking for conditions, but what are you returning? What part is that? Is it this guy, 01 onboarding? Is that what it is? Is that one
Okay,
of the values being returned?
so the overriding one is if sales stage, start at the very beginning. If the sales stage 06 is booked,
Yeah.
the answer is booked.
Oh, okay.
Overrides
Got it.
the rest of it. But
Got
if
it.
the activated total is 0 and the provision total is 0,
Yeah, then this.
then that.
This is awesome. Hey, man, I don't think I ever used if s. But are you familiar with like the switch? I've used switch in DAX and that. It feels like a switch, right? So it's saying check this
I tried to play
condition.
with it. I
If
tried
this
to play
is
with it
true.
yesterday. Got a little bit lost, so I thought I'll wait.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. I mean that's how I think of switch. It says it has a series of condition. I know DAX switch, and it says check condition A. If that is true, return A, and then and so if S seems to me like that. Let's see if there's an example, right? So um well, it's kind of similar. Anyway, all right. So this is good. This is really good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna. Okay. So I feel so. Question: have you taken a stab at doing this in Power BI yet?
Yeah, and I got a little bit lost, so I just thought I'd wait and see if I could get some advice today.
Yeah. So my big question to you is, did you try to do this in DAX or the query editor?
I
Is the
tried
big
to do
question.
it in DAX.
Okay. So yeah, my
I just,
gut feel is that this is more of a query editor thing,
mhm.
and that I think you're not gonna have a problem. So let's see. Oh man. Maybe I don't need your file. Hold on. Let me see if I can just. Man, half of the time I don't even know what to call this thing. Is like, should I call it get data? Should I call it transform data? Should I call it query editor? Should I call it Power Query? The funniest that I experience is that when I'm like, well, I haven't taught like an in-person class in a while, but I would be teaching this class, and this was back in the day, so I would still like Power Pivot, and this was like Excel and so forth, right? So I would introduce Power Pivot, and I would introduce Power Query, and people would mix up their words, and inevitably somebody would throw in PowerPoint in the mix, and it's like, no, we're not doing PowerPoint today. Anyway, all right, so let's take something kind of simple, but you'll get the idea. So query editor. So folks, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna think out loud. So Gary, this is mostly for the YouTube audience. Maybe it's gonna help you as well. So what was I thinking when? What was that gut feel? So again, folks. So when people talk about DAX and they talk about DAX being hard, you've heard me talk about this. That DAX and maybe in general Power BI, it's we think that we need to get smarter to learn it. I think it's the opposite. We need to get dumber. You don't realize, but DAX is a very structured language. It has these very fixed steps. And of course, I talk about it in my course, and I think it's on YouTube as well. I talk about the ICANN framework, the ICAN, incoming filter context, calculate does its magic, apply the relationships, do the numbers. So you have to dumb yourself down, right? And kind of the same applies here. So anyway, so I'm gonna kind of slow myself down. So again, humans are intuitive, but I'm gonna slow it down, and and that way you can kind of see. So the first thing, and if you go back, that's what I was asking Gary, like, what are you returning, right? And I said, are you returning this 01 onboarding? And I was kind of right. I mean, that's one of the values, and of course, right. So, and I don't know if I said out loud aha, but there was certainly an aha moment in my head. Why? Because this is text, and that was big, 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 right? Because again, what is the general rule? Not always, but the general rule is we save the math for measures, right? So if this was a numeric value, if this was like, I don't know, 1.25, or this number multiplied by that, then I would have been a little cautious. But once I saw text, I'm like, boom, done, right? So this is not math, so it's okay to kind of back away from measures, and frankly, even if it was math, I would still have considered backing away from a measure, because usually this complicated stuff, like really this and that, it's kind of tricky. And folks, I'm going to just take a little bit of a detour into calculated column. So you could do this kind of math theoretically in using a calculated column here, new column. But if you were going to do that, I would say don't, because it's better off to do that in the query editor. Query editor is a kitchen of Power BI. It's built to do that kind of stuff. Please, please do it here. All right. So essentially, Gary, yeah. I mean, let's just say you're checking a few columns, right? So let's just see.
Yeah, so basically it's two tables. So you've got the sales table.
Oh, it's across tables. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
the first part is from the sales table. So if it's booked, forget about the rest of it. The answer's booked.
Yeah.
If it's not booked, you look at the provisioning work. So is it active? Is it
Yeah.
provisioned?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. So you put it to start. Yes, it started. So we put it to um,
Got it.
enablement.
Okay. So let's do it. Yeah.
Then the next one is yes, they're using it, but only one person's using it, so it's less than 5%.
Got it.
So,
But the
so we put that as
key
demo.
thing is it's coming from different tables. Like in Power
Two
BI, they would end up being different tables, right? I mean,
two
Excel is
two
probably a flat file.
yeah, two tables. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So guys, let's zero in on that. So I'm gonna take it step by step. In the first one, we're just gonna do, where's my query editor? We're just gonna do based on um, a single table. Product name, product key. Yeah. All right. So for now, we're just gonna do a single table. So let's say I had some logic. Oh, actually, control. Oh wow. Let's collapse this one. So I want to do some logic for my budget table based on multiple columns in the same table, right? So I would just say add column, custom column, right? So that's, kind of over here, custom column. And is it coming up? Oh, there it is. All right, so if you go to custom column, and I'm going to say, I don't know, some complex multi-column logic, and then of course, I mean, it's frankly the biggest gotcha for me for writing this stuff is that figuring out that it's case sensitive. Oh my god, so many times I wrote the I in the if capital and then it wouldn't work and it was a disaster. It's odd. It's not saying syntax errors, but anyway. So let's say, so if we say if and we say budget amount is less than kind of 3,000, and you can say and. Can you see and like that? Huh? Or is it a single and? Or is it and? Sorry. Dax and Hammond. I think that's right. And okay. And I don't
Two
know,
ampersands
month.
do actually work.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. So month, I think I just said June or something like that, or January. It doesn't matter. I could have picked something else. Right. So if this, then first value, right? And of course, you could go on and on, right? I mean, you could say else if this, else if that, and the logic can be as complicated as you need across as many columns as you need, right? So that else, no, oops. So let's see, yep, and so January less than 3,000 first value. Oh boy, hopefully there are some values. Maybe not. Anyway, you get the idea. So we could have picked something else. Maybe let me change that just to see, make sure I didn't do anything dumb. I'll check product key is greater than 400. Oh. There we go. All right, perfect. So you can see, I mean, whatever my logic, budget amount is less than 3,000, product key is greater than 400. But, say you can have a complex logic and then select value based on that. Now the question becomes, what if I need a value from another table? Yeah, actually, I'm just pausing to think, man, how would that have worked in DAX? I mean, I think it would have worked similar, but basically you need to pull that value in here. So we're gonna play this game where we need maybe the product. We have the product key, but what we need is actually the product. I'm looking for maybe the product color. So we need to bring that in. So I'm gonna go to my budget table, and you're gonna see something in action, which is my favorite part. I mean, I love this so much. Yeah, I mean, it's like the most useful thing. It's basically the trash can. And again, you think about it. Query editor is a kitchen of Power BI. Imagine a kitchen without a trash can, right? And imagine you cooking a meal. There's no trash can. Man, it's gonna be insane. How long can you last without a trash can, right? A day, a week. I mean, right? So it doesn't work. And guess what? The DAX, if you do a calculated column and all that stuff, that's not the kitchen. They don't have a trash can. So you're going to see the trash can in action. So now what we're going to do is I need that other value, so I'm going to bring it in. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to merge budget with the product table. So budget with the product table. So this one, Gary, of course, I don't know your specific scenario, but I'm hoping this would work out. So and the only thing that I care about is, in this case, color. So I'll bring that in. I don't really. So now I have that value from the other column. And now, of course, you realize that the problem is simple because we already knew how to do complex logic across all the columns or any variation of columns in the custom table. So now we can actually let me go back. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna shift our conditional logic near the end of the table. So added column. And of course, you don't have to get in the advanced editor. Frankly, I rarely do. I avoid it not like a plague, but as much as I can. All you would have done was to do the merge first, and then add the column. So, and that would have resulted in what I'm about to do. Okay, so added custom, a few changes here. Maybe I should add in a request to allow me to drag and drop steps and move them. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? Hey, if anybody manages to submit an idea while we're on here, then put it in the chat box. Let's all vote for it. I'll vote for it. Okay, so well, that's interesting. Okay, so all right, so hopefully I did everything right, and that's why I don't like getting in here, because it gets kind of tricky if you get things wrong. I think I got it right. But anyway, what you would have done was to do the merge first and then add the column last. So now if you go back to our added custom, well...
Hey, Avi, real quick, before somebody submits it, if you right-click on a step, I think you can move up or down.
No way. What? Oh, that's crazy. Wow. Oh my God. I'm gonna play with it. Move up. Okay. Oh man, I'm like overjoyed, but I'm also kind of sad. Oh God. So when I talk about visualization, I talk about like as far as UI goes, and I'm not a UI expert. I mean, obviously I can design these things, but what I look for as a customer is it discoverable, and once I discovered it, is it intuitive to use? And and I would say, man, I wish this was, I know. Anyway, drag and drop would still be nice, but this is awesome. This is awesome. Thank you, Ian. So now if you go back to that, so again, you realize the problem is really simple now, because the column from the other table is now in this table. So we can say something like else, let's say budget amount, same thing, else budget amount this, but now we can say color equals black, then oops, value else no, let's see, something here. Oh, else if, sorry, I think that is it. Else if this, and this, then second value else no. Let's see, hopefully we got some second value. Nope, not really. What happened here? Oh, let's try red. I think the budget value is not matching. Anyway, that's just obviously me coming up with this stuff. Okay, so folks, this is good, right? This is good so far. But I talked about the the best feature in this, which is the trash can. And again, I mean, if you know about it, you know how awesome it is. But folks, I still feel that people don't realize how powerful this is, and how unlike anything else we have ever seen in the whole world this is, right? So, so something like this, you could do this in Excel, right? But then you have this column and everything is dependent on that. So this is the trash can that I'm talking about, right? I can take this color and I can throw it away in the trash can. And when I do that, people who've never seen stuff like this, like, whoa, isn't it gonna break my column? And you notice that it doesn't. It does not break your column, right? So your column is, you have a column which is dependent on this magical column which has disappeared, right? And that's the magical query editor. That's the trash can. So if you think about it, let's step back. And why is this so awesome? And somebody was asking about query editor versus Toad. Oh my God, F Toad. I mean, I don't care about Toad. No, just kidding. I mean, Toad is great, but for a different reason. This is an ETL tool, right? This is a clean shape transform tool. And this is you in the kitchen, kind of prepping for your big meal, awesome celebration in the model and the visualization. And the kitchen is, you have all the tools, and the most important one is a trash can. So we step back. My friends, and I have seen much more complicated formulas like this, right? So think about the worst ones you've seen, and man, the one that I remember, it was like pages long. So the challenge was that you could do things step by step in Excel, and that's how I like doing things. Frankly, I mean, if you ask me, I'm not very smart. If you see how I solve complex problems, I can't. I break them down into simple problems that I can wrap my heads around. Like, no, wait, slow down, right? You often hear me saying that even when I'm working with a client, right? So I break it down in small steps. So I love solving them in small steps. But if you did that in Excel, or even if you do that using DAX calculated columns, you end up with a lot of litter, right? I mean, I would say, okay, first I'm going to multiply this with this, and that gives me a new column, and then I'm going to take that column and do this to it, that gives me a new column. So I would collect all these things, and that is good. The step-by-step approach is good because it keeps it simple. I can understand it. Somebody else can understand it. If I come back to it a month later, I can understand it. But it again creates a lot of litter. And the other choice was that you don't do it step by step and you write this monster. Well, this one is frankly nothing close to a monster. But yeah, again, as I said, the worst I've seen is a page long formula. So it was either you ended up with a lot of litter or you ended up with this monster formula. Monster formula, lots of garbage, monster formula. I mean, devil in the deep sea, right? I mean, it was not nice. So now I love Query Editor because you can go step by careful step, and it's all self-documented. I love it, right? I mean, I can understand it if I get back to it. Okay, I can go step by step. Yep, I did this, then I did this, and I did this. It just makes sense. But then you don't have to carry around the garbage and take it to your living room. You can throw away the garbage, just like I threw away the color. I'm like, nope, done with you. I don't want the banana peel. Who wants to eat the banana peel, right? So that's it. All right, folks. So Gary, do you feel like you have a kind of a line of sight to how you're gonna approach it with your data set?
Yeah, so I'm best in calculated columns then, yeah?
Sorry, say again.
I'm best trying to use calculated columns.
Well, no, don't use that word.
Yeah.
use the query editor term, which is you're gonna add a custom column in the query editor. Yeah, I mean it's kind of the same thing, but the calculated column, that one is when you go in the data model, and you say, so this is kind of the DAX side of things, right? And you say new column, and I don't remember
Stay
the last
away.
time I did it. Yeah, and again, folks, if you're finding yourself using this, then ask yourself, why don't I just do it in the query editor? And usually the right answer is, yeah, you should. You should do it in the query editor. Yeah, so this new column, delete that button pretty much. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, Gary, hopefully that helped. And again, if you
I'll give
get
it a go.
stuck.
Yep, thank you.
Awesome. So we had one of the students, Sam? No. Oh,
Hey.
Sam. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Avi.
All right, let's see if we can find your question. Oh, shit, we need another one. Hold on, guys. We're gonna do. Oh. Man, look at us. Okay, so actually add. So we go there, and yeah, that's good. Okay, I was gonna find your question. Is it this one? Stop
Yeah, the
align.
first one there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's see. Stop align column chart showing data that hasn't occurred yet. That's a classic problem. That's a good one too. So yeah, let's see what you got on the drive. And I may be able to. Dax, from a human resource perspective, oh, that's awesome. This table shows the monthly total of active crew and average per month over the year. That's good. Yeah, doing the active crew is a little bit of a dance, so that's good. My line and column chart shows data from months that haven't passed yet. How do I stop from doing this? I would like to only display until the current month, and as we enter a new month, another column becomes available. Yep. Got it. Oh, I don't see that average employee count line is broken. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I
is
think
interesting.
my DAX is probably not quite correct.
Well, I'm not sure. So, is the first file a PBIX file?
Yeah, PBIX. Yeah.
Okay, and it's kosher to
Yeah,
to show
yeah, it's all
YouTube, right?
good. I've
Okay, perfect.
anonymized it a bit.
All right, great. All right, so we'll say 626. This is Sam. Are you using the ultimate calendar table?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so that should help you get there. So while that's coming up, ultimate calendar table, um, yeah, it has this idea of a current month offset, current year offset, and things like that. Um, uh, so, um, well, it's kind of odd. I realize that, but that some of those lessons exist on YouTube,
Mhm.
and then the same lessons and some beyond that are in the advanced lessons. So it's yeah. I mean, not by design, but yeah. I mean, next time we redo the course, we'll bring Ultimate Calendar back in because that's the right thing to do. But you can go to my channel and look at this playlist. And by the way, folks who are watching YouTube, the good stuff is here. At least, well, the good stuff is really inside my course. No, just kidding. This is the good stuff, and it's a good way to start. But of course, you want to go deeper. You can join a course, join a community. So the ultimate calendar table, and in this playlist is this video, which is my favorite trick with the ultimate calendar table. This oh, sorry, not the week offsets, but yeah, the the offsets or relative date range. So that's what we're going to use. So let's come back here. So so if I may, I'll share a quick story on how I did the offsets. So I had built a report for our sales team, and it was an annual report. And I thought, oh, when the start of a new year comes along, I'll just get in there, and all I had to do was, kind of change this filter to whatever back when I don't know when it was 2017 to 2018, and I'll be done, right? I just had to kind of change it. Maybe not once. They didn't have like synced slicers, so I had multiple pages, multiple slicers. But get in the report, just change all the slicers, and you're done, right? I thought it was gonna be quick. Well, once the start of the year came along, life of a business analyst, right? I mean, it's like a death by a thousand cuts, right? You're doing a lot of stuff, and I kept thinking about, oh my god, I have to refresh that report. And of course, I would start hearing from the sales team like, Avi, this is still showing the last year. This is still showing the last year. It took me a month and a half to get to the report and update it. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to deal with this, right? So that's when offsets came along. I'm like, I want this report to always show the current year, and then of course I went to the current month and all that stuff. So let's look at You have the calendar table. I just want to make sure. Yep. Look, perfect. Yeah. So it's got all of that sort of stuff. So let's see. Well, I'll just do it. So the yeah, okay. So if we go here, don't summarize. And we look at current year offset. Don't summarize. Oh wait, don't summarize. Okay, cool. So this is 1. Let's look at month year. Here we go. And we're gonna go current month offset. Same thing, don't summarize. All right, so yeah, offsets are really simple. 0 is going to be the current entity. So if you go current year offset, 2020 is going to be 0. The year before is going to be -1, -2, -3. And if you had years in the future, which we often do in calendar tables, sometimes there's like future projections or something in your data table. So then it would be 1, 2, 3, and so forth. And you can of course see that in the month column here. So if you look at this, then the current month, June, is 0. After that, it's +1, +2, +3, and so forth. Now, this trick is so phenomenally flexible. You can do unbelievable things with it, right? So the simplest you can do is zero in on the current year and the current month, right? So let's do that for here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the slicer because again, I'm kind of lazy, and lazy is one of the best attributes you can have as a Power BI developer because that means you're very focused on automating things. So I'm going to bring in here, and I'm going to bring in my current year offset as a filter, and I'm going to say current year offset is, and again you can apply, yeah. So current year offset, I'll just say is 0. Yeah, you can do it either way. So it's 0. So now effectively, so again, if I bring in now here, not current year offset, but if I now bring in year, you will notice that it is, and if I change it to a slicer, it only has one value, 2020. So because this filter, current year offset, is filtering to that. So 2020, that's done. And again, next year you don't have to touch this report at all. It's automatically going to roll over to 2021. So show me the current year, but don't show me the future months. So for that, I'm going to go to current month offset, and I'm going to say is less than, and this is sometimes tricky. So sometimes in finance, we actually do not want to show the current month because it takes, June numbers are only available in July, like after June has ended. So if you show partial numbers, it doesn't look right. It looks like the sales are going down, and of course then sales team just hates it, like, hey, you're making us look bad, and it looks like June we're tanking, which we're not because we're in the middle of the month. So that's up to you. So you can either say is less than 0, and that is gonna it's gonna only show completed months, right? So or you can say, well, less than or equal to 0, then it'll also show the current month. And that's it. You never have to touch it ever again. Next month rolls along, it's going to show July automatically, and the next year. So Sam, I'm just going to pause here. How does this feel?
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Awesome, great.
I didn't realize it was going to be that simple.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, simple is good stuff, right? So, oh God, I had a thought here. Some gotcha. What was the gotcha? Oh yeah. Oh my God, big gotcha. Well, not a big, but sometimes it's obvious. But so the ultimate calendar table is built in the query editor. So it requires a regular refresh. Most preferred a daily refresh, because, and if you would open any of my example files, sometimes you would notice that the current month offset is wrong. Because if I recorded that example in 2017, the current year is 2017, and until you refresh that table, it's not going to update. So that's the only gotcha. Now, most models are refreshed on a regular basis, preferably automatically. If that's the case, you're going to be in the clear. If they're not going to be refreshed, then yeah, just watch out for that. Sounds good?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So all right, so folks, let's just dwell a little bit here. And again, the YouTube covers some of the other stuff, and you can go to town with it, right? I mean, anything can have an offset. Anything you have in the calendar table can have an offset, right? You can have offset for weeks. If you have your own monkey business going on in the calendar table, like, oh, we have semesters, Avi, or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, calendar tables are always customized. You can have offsets, and not only can it let you do stuff like this, like show me only the current month, but you can have it show a rolling period. For example, you can say, I always want to see the last 3 completed months. So you go in and you say current month offset is between -1 and -3, right? And you're always going to see the last 3 completed months. Doesn't matter when you open the report. Like next month, automatically it'll keep moving. Not just that, you can do rolling periods, but you can also use this in calculations. So rolling period calculation, like I want to see the average of sales over the last 3 months, are sometimes tricky. And the tricky step is like, oh shit, how do I figure out which are the last 3 months? Well, how do you figure out? You just do the same thing inside a DAX measure. So so again, you can use these filters on visuals. So for example, you can have like a visual or something, and it'll say, oh, for this line graph, I want to see a rolling, it always shows the last 6 months, right? So you can change that, or last 12 months, whatever you want to show. But then you can also use it in DAX when you say, oh, I want to calculate something, do some calculations over the last 3 months. Then the first thing you do is you go grab your calendar table, filter it to this, and bada bing, bada boom, you're in business, right? So, man, this thing is like, whoo, firecracker. All right, cool. Okay, so let's do one shout out to our students. Actually, I did see some pop out in the chat box, so let's go to that. I think Robin had some questions. Florent is saying he had a question about the calendar. Well, we're talking about calendar. So Florent, if you oh wait, is Florent on still?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, let's. I said this is a good time as any to jump in. So what was your
sure.
question about calendars?
Well, I had because I see that sometimes now I'm building my calendars a different way when I build my visuals.
Yeah.
And I've seen that I've moved to a certain model where I use slicers instead of my sliders to select my dates.
Yeah.
And I realized, so it's good. I have like this month, quarter to date, year to date. So I have a range slicer for the date.
Yeah.
And I also have a comparison slicer, whether I want to go month over month, quarter over quarter, or year over year. And I find it easier for the user. I've seen more adoption that way, rather than playing with a slider and selecting the dates themselves, because when they want to switch from one period to another, they find it easier that way. Now, the caveat is that the problem I have with that is that my calendar table is filtered for the month that they select only. So I have to maneuver around this so in one way, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of thing. And that's something that I've seen recurring when I build these reports on Power BI, is like, okay, good. This acts well when I want to do measures that are dynamic. So I get my quarter to date, year to date amount very easily. But also when I want to show graphs and trends, all of a sudden I have a hard time building a line chart or a bar chart with different dates, because my dates are pre-filtered.
Yeah, mate. So let's give me one scenario.
I
So
could
you have oh we
yeah, I
yeah.
could share my screen. It might
Oh
be
yeah.
easier.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
Uh,
Let's do that.
close.
Hold on. I need to
Okay.
do something on my side. Okay. All right, Florent, go ahead. You should have a green
Ah,
share screen
yes,
button on your side.
perfect. Ah, yes. Oh, yeah. Can you see? Can you see my
I think
screen?
it's coming up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh God, this is nice.
Okay, so I just, they select the year and the month, and then I have one disconnected slicer for my range and another disconnected slicer for my comparison.
Okay, okay. So, wait. So, uh, wait. I don't. Help me out. So I see the 2017, 18, 19, 20, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then the month is kind of at the bottom or further down, the January, April,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, so
yeah.
forth.
Well,
So but that's what you're talking about, right? So they select 2019, then they click February, right?
yeah, yeah.
And what does that month or QDD or YTD mean?
So that would be the range. So if they want to see the data February year to date, oh my gosh. Okay. They would just click on the year to date
Uh-huh.
and they
And
would see Jan plus Feb instead of selecting. So this is actually a single select when I select my month.
okay,
So I
so
just click on Feb year to date, I get Jan plus Feb.
okay, show me QTD, show me month. I think
A
I'm getting
QTD
it.
would be the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yep, yep,
If you
yeah.
see the amounts here,
Yeah, but what is that one? Is that a disconnected slicer? Month QTD YTD? Or is that
yes,
a
yeah, basically. So
okay,
I have
that's a disconnected slicer.
my slicers
Got it.
here,
Got it. Got it. Got it. Perfect. Perfect. Yep. Yeah, spot
and
on, mate. Spot on. I'm feeling ya. Yeah.
okay, let's just.
So that's a disconnected slicer. Okay.
So I have one for range. See, so my selected month MQTD U2D,
Yep.
and then I have
And then you do the lifting in DAX. In DAX, you figured out what are they trying to see? Are they trying to see the month value? Are
exactly.
they month to date coordinate? Okay, go back to
And
the
we were
visual.
talking about the current month offset. This is exactly what I'm doing here with my offset, which is dynamic based off of the
The
slicer.
selection. So you say quarter over quarter, then -3. Okay, cool. Okay, got it. Man, this is kind of nice, folks,
Yeah,
right? I mean, All right, so hold on. Let me sync. Let me take it in. And I was gonna do. So, folks, I take a lot of notes and I take a lot of screenshots when I'm working with a client. So I'm gonna do the same here. And I'm gonna. By the way, right now I'm using. What am I using? Snagit. But generally, I like using Jing. For one, I like it because it's free. Okay, so I got this here, and just wanna. So these two are disconnected slicer. So small thing, but I wanna.
yeah, it's kind of open-ended. So I had two workarounds to fix my problem.
Okay, so
Neither of which are very elegant, but I wanted to see if
yeah.
some of you had come up with the same
hmm
sort of
But show me the problem now. So this is good. This is working, right? I mean, they can select January. They can have it any way you want. But right? I mean, but so what is the problem?
the problem was getting this date trend. So here I'm able. So this is like a last 12 months
Yeah.
date trend, but you see that since I only have 1 month
Uh-huh.
selected here, if I go to my calendar table, I'm only getting the dates for February.
Yeah, but
So then if I put here, well, this is because I had a workaround. So if we look here, it forced me to create all this messy stuff, which is a
oh,
trend calendar. So
yeah.
I have to modify my calendar
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
table and then use like you use the use relationships function to tell, okay, don't use the calendar table, use the calendar trend table, so it unfilters my calendar table.
Yeah. So if you go back to the visual, I just want to understand what is the ideal behavior for this trend graph. Is it not
No,
supposed to
it's fine.
respond to any of the selections? Like if I
It's
select
fine. It's fine.
2019
It's
February.
working. Yeah, it's
But
working fine.
what define working? Working is what? If I select 2019 February, it's going to show me February and the 12 months before that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got it. Oh,
The problem was having all these dates show up.
yeah.
Because if I do the same thing here, this is my date on the axis. I have to put my date trend axis.
Yeah.
Or else I would get something entirely.
So click on August and what happens if you click on August? It shows or I don't know, January or some other
okay,
month.
Yeah. Yeah, if I click January, it's going to shift. So
wow.
that's nice.
Oh God. So first of all, oh man, I mean, so right now I just think out loud, and I mean my gut feel is that the approach that you have taken, that's the one that I would have reached for as well. All right, and you can dig deeper into that. Oh boy. Now, of course, so that's why I asked you to kind of explain to me, like, like, I mean, frankly, I was hoping that you're gonna say, so, right? I mean, I'm just thinking, like, I was hoping you're gonna say that, oh, Avi, yeah, for the line graph, I always want to show the last 12 months from the current date, nothing to do with the slicer. Now,
yeah,
if you would have said that, then of course you probably already know. Then the easy solution would have been to just in the visual how you can say don't filter this based on that.
The use relationship
No.
function.
Click on the view tab at the top.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that. Oh God, where is it now?
You hide it. You conditionally hide the.
Oh, there it is. Maybe try going to format. Click on that visual again.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, format.
Edit interactions, and then you could have said so again. So right, so that's why I was asking. So I was hoping you're gonna say, oh, it always shows the last 12 months, and then I would have said, click on edit interactions, and then make this not related to the slicer. So anything you did on slicer, it wouldn't affect it. It will always show you 12 months. But that's not what you want, right? So that would have been an easy solution. And frankly, man, I would have been so happy, because that was easy, right? So I say, oh, this always shows the last 12 months. So yeah, but let's just pause there, and I would say maybe it is worthwhile to talk to the users and say, hey, do you really want this trend to be dynamic? And man.
It's just having both. Having this one, I like. I don't think I would ever go back to my first models when I started out with a date slicer, because they constantly, the scenario changes and they constantly have to play with the slider, and that's just too much.
The slicers are really good, but I think the challenge is that you want to show a trend as well.
Yeah, or if I want to put another visual and I need an axis, and it might be not 12 months, it might be 18 months. That's tricky.
As far as I can tell, I'm seeing only those two options. One option is you talk to your users and say, hey, is it okay if this line trend always wasn't, always showed you the last 12 months based on current date and did not respect the slicers, right? And or if that's not okay, it does need to be responsive, then I think what you have done, that's what I would have done. In fact, so I'm gonna take screen sharing
back
for a bit. Screen 2. Where was I gonna go here? Which finance? Nope. Finance. Oh yeah, there we go. So in the pro level, and again we're building this out. There's three kind of numbers mixed together. Okay, I wanted to show you. Hopefully, oh yeah, there we go. Oh boy. So the approach that you're talking about, that is exactly the scenario I ran into, and that is exactly the approach that I took. So in this, I have these slicers which change things like current QDD year to date. Basically, actually, those are disconnected. Those don't matter. But this
Mm-hmm.
one is important, right? So the users can kind of select the month and everything, so they can say August. And for August, then I show them, kind of what happened in that month, what happened, kind of quarter to date, year to date. Pretty similar to what you have done, right? But then I had to show this whole thing,
Yeah.
which didn't have to, like, it needed to basically ignore the slicer. And
Yeah.
I
Okay, I see.
used I used the same approach that you did. You build a parallel calendar table and run it off that way. And the only other option is that, again, where you do the edit interactions and then you say, oh, ignore this. But your scenario is even more specific because you want to respect it, like you want to detect that value, but then you want to go beyond that. So, folks, so Florent, sorry, I mean, I don't think I can help you any further. If you do have pro access, just for fun, I mean, I mean, it might be helpful to kind of go through some of these lessons. Um, uh, but by the way, folks, so Learn Power BI students, we're gonna get better at this. We are not really great at kind of when we open enrollment and close enrollment. We're gonna take care of that. But just FYI, the pro enrollment is open right now, and the only place where I announced it, and I apologize, is not the way it should be. At least there should be an email. Is in our Facebook group, so check out my post there. Anyway, back to this. So Florence, sorry, I wasn't able to kind of give you any cool answer. I couldn't think of any. But I think there's a lot of good news, my friend. I mean, I can see if you're tackling stuff at this level, like you solved this pattern where you said that, oh, this is the challenge, and you solved it using kind of a parallel calendar table with the disconnected relationship, right? That's the only way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Then, mate, you're now in the big leagues as far as I'm concerned. And boy, and I would say, well, I never get tired of saying that. I, the recipe for success in this day and age is plain and simple. You can't just do good work. You gotta tell great stories. I mean, imagine you clearly are already been doing great work, but it's no good if only one person knows about it, which is, could be a boss. So I'm talking in general, not specifically to you, but folks, think about it. If you're doing good work, and sometimes even your boss doesn't know about it, right? I've been in a lot of situations where my boss was kind of clueless as to the value that I'm providing, right? So 0 or 1 person know about it, versus what if 10 people knew about it, or what about 100? Right? So you gotta share your story. You gotta talk to people about the work that you do. It's like, yeah, I did this, and again, my journey was accidental. I didn't plan it. I love this stuff so much. I wanted to share it, but I started doing brown bags. I couldn't keep it in my heart. I'm like, guys, I'm so excited about this. Let's, brown bag. Let's get everybody together. And I would talk about it, and did 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth, and kept going. And guess what? I got a chance to tell my story, and I got better and better and better at it. And the word spread, and now not just 1 person, 0 or 1 people knew about my work, 100, 1,000, right? It grew. The people who knew about the work that I was doing just kept growing. So do that within your organizations, and if you choose, you can also step outside of that and start doing it on a social platform, and then you can go from 1,000 to 10,000 people knowing about your work, right? I mean, and frankly, we want to give our Learn Power BI students the ladder. So I want to show you a plan. So this is kind of a new lesson I threw in just because I felt a little bit inspired that day. It's kind of rough around the edges, but if I'm focused on that, and if I believe, and I do believe, that that is a crucial factor to success. If I find another factor, then I'll let you know. I know for sure, unfortunately, folks, sad news, it, it's not it's not learning more or working hard. Sorry to break it to you. You probably already realize that because I'm pretty sure you've been working hard all your life, and you've been constantly learning more. And yeah, I mean that. What is going on here? Hold on, guys. There's some noise coming in. I don't know who it was. Okay. Hopefully. Oh, okay. So, all right. So sorry, a little bit of a detour, but and again, I mean, we already have a lot of things we do for our students. So I realize that this welcome module is like getting pretty packed. But what we want to build is basically a staircase for our students, right? So this whole do good work, tell great stories. But I mean, how, right? So we want to give a staircase, and we want to say, hey, just do step one. Then maybe you can do step two, step three, and before you know it, man, you're gonna be at the freaking top, and that's where we want to see each one of you. It's possible. It's very possible. So again, I talked about in the conference that it's not about leaving your 9 to 5. It's about leaving the 9 to 5 mindset behind. And you can do that while still working 9 to 5, right? So, if you get out of that mindset, man, anything is possible. Because once you get out of the mindset, you realize that opportunities are unlimited. Now, I know if somebody said this to me when I was an employee, I'm like, what are you talking about? There's only one person in the group who's going to be promoted, who's going to get the bonus, and I have to fight and I have to jab other people with my elbows to get there, right? And that's not true, my friends. If you leave the 9 to 5 mindset behind, you realize that opportunities are unlimited. Unlimited. All right, so well, I can talk a whole lot more about that, but I'll just let it rest. So we want to give our students the ladder, right? Do good work, tell great stories. Do good work, tell great stories. How do we do it? So this is what we're thinking, right? So folks, share your win. We love that, and that's the one that I showed at the beginning. That is a wall of inspiration, right? If you go to free inspiration, folks, and again, right? I mean, I start off this wall of inspiration by saying this. So there's one line which differentiates the winners from the losers. Sorry, I'm being blunt, right? This is how losers think. They see examples of success and they say, oh, that's great, but I can't do that, right? I mean, they have some excuse like, but I don't have what they have. I don't have those genes, right? I wasn't born smart. I wasn't this, right? They have some freaking but in there, oh yeah, that's great, but they had this advantage, all of that sort of stuff, right? They say that. The ones who succeed, they see it as an example of what's possible. They see that and they go, whoa, that's great. If they can do it, why can't I, right? So see it as that. See it as an example, right? And these folks, they started in the same place you are right now, right? And I think I say that here. Let me see. Sometimes I say good things like, yeah, it may feel you're just starting out, perhaps with a little fear, anxiety, excitement mixed in. But yeah, everybody started there. Everybody started there. Take that first step, right? So sharing a win, we do that inside our program, and we celebrate that, and we're gonna keep doing that. And man, just amazing stuff. I got to speak to our last winner, Darren Spence, who talked to me about this. I mean, this blew my mind. I'm like, what a story. So I actually asked Darren to come on our show sometime and tell us more, because it's an incredible story. And again, guys, that's the key to success. Do good work, tell great stories. So he's got an incredible one, right? So lots of wins and so forth. So anyway, come back to this. So we feel like that's going to be like the step one. Like, just share it with a group, right? And just tell your story in a mini form, like I did this. And then we run the dashboard showcase. Step up there. That's going to be your step 2. Step up there. Show your work a little bit. Talk about it. Tell us a story, right? We get so focused on, I have this slicer and let me show you this cool trick. Forget about that. We're humans. Tips and tricks are okay, but we really gravitate towards a powerful story. And you might not nail it in your first attempt, but again, that's why you got to do it again and again and again. You're going to get better and better and better. So the next ladder step is going to be dashboard showcase, and then we're thinking about, we're also going to do like dedicated sessions, kind of like for Darren Spence. We're going to have Darren, and it's only going to be Darren. It's going to be Darren's show, right? He's going to take on and share us the story. It's kind of a full, 1 hour, 30 minutes, something like that. Another option that we have, and we want to become more consistent with it. We have done this in the past, where Learn Power BI members have taught other Learn Power BI members. We call it a masterclass, and it's amazing. And for one, it's amazing because if somebody's kind of a little bit afraid of kind of getting on YouTube, like, Avi, I'm not sure I'm ready for the outside world, then this is going to give them a closed group. Man, Learn Power BI is an awesome community. I mean, you know a lot of people, right? So it gives you a safe group. And after that, of course, we're going to keep running our conference. The plan is to run twice a year. Thank you to everybody who participated last week. Right, so twice a year. And then anybody from this set whom we kind of like, right? I mean, if you feel like your story is refined enough, you've progressed enough in your storytelling ability, the story about your work, we're going to invite them to the Power BI conference and put them, shoulder to shoulder with these amazing Power BI celebrities. And yeah, you're going to be up on that stage with the spotlight on you. And guess what? Once this whole coronavirus craziness goes away, we're going to start doing live events. So we're going to have live events. And again, you're going to be on a real stage, not just a virtual stage. So yeah, we want to make you superstars. And you don't have to follow this exact journey, right? I mean, you can do just what I did. Like I did brown bags within my company. And again, it went from 0 or 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000 people knowing about me and my work. That is power. You've heard me talk about these students, Justina Bucks, Pam Baker. Pam Baker went from anonymous, right, a cog in the giant machine for 15 years, to a celebrity, to a Power BI celebrity. She was sought out in these worldwide meetings. Like, oh, you're the Power BI lady. Hey, can you help us with this? Hey, would you like to join a group? Right? I mean, that kind of stuff, right? So she was a celebrity. How do you get there, right? You share your story. So you don't have to go kind of all the way, but we want to give all the options to your students and give that path, and just to, man, we want you to succeed. I mean, you've seen my tagline, right? Don't just learn Power BI. Who cares? Nobody cares about Power BI. People care about solving the business problems. Become a pro. Help others do good work, but then you gotta tell great stories. If you did great work, nobody knows about it, doesn't matter. Doesn't happen. Tree fell in forest. Nobody was around. Didn't make a sound. It didn't. All right. So, okay, cool. Sorry, I get excited about this stuff. So, let's see. So, Florent, yeah, good stuff. What I was trying to say was that come over to the dashboard makeover, at least. That would be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Because yeah,
Thanks.
you're doing cool stuff. So, so let's see. So folks, we're gonna stick with our students for a little bit. Hopefully, you're enjoying this as much as I am. And well, that's what it was. Okay, got it. And let's see. So Florent had a question. Robin, go ahead and unmute yourself. And Kevin has a question as well. Okay,
Yes,
Kevin.
yeah. Here.
So you said you have a question related to date and orders?
Yes, I have submitted a question. So,
all right, hold on. So Robin is saying she was just commenting. Let me read it.
Okay.
So she was saying, would you not have actual and budgeted hours? Maybe hours. Oh, okay, so this was Ian's dilemma and kind of actual and budgeted hours. So yeah, I don't know. Depends. Maybe this is the actual. So resource time is the actual hours recorded. He did say this is like timesheets. And this was the budgeted hours. So yeah, Robin, you're spot on. I think it's just, yeah, the kind of the different terminology. So as far as I can say, this was actual. So good, awesome. All right, Kevin. So you said question related to date and orders. Let's see what you got.
I have submitted a question.
Oh, you did? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go find that. Love that. And so this one, we're going to put it here. Find our friend Kevin. Oh, no. Would it come in under a different name, maybe? Oh, sorry. I misspelled your name.
Keven.
You have an unusual spelling, huh? I'm pretty sure you have to spell it out every time you call like customer support. It's like,
yeah. Each time people call me Kevin instead of Keven.
All right. Mauritius. Oh, my God. That's awesome. That's great. Have you always been there? Are you from there?
Yeah, I'm from Mauritius, yeah.
Oh, that's great. I hear there's quite an IT sector there, right? I mean, it's kind of a hub. Oh, I was really surprised when I first heard that.
Cyber city, where you've got all everything concerning IT there actually.
Yeah.
And all that, programmers and everything.
Yeah. Hey, are you in a spot where you can turn your webcam on? That's always cool. That'd be great.
Can you see me?
There we go. Yeah. Yay. Awesome. Great. How do I? Okay, there we go.
It's actually it's a real business problem. I've created a different well, I've not shared the actual files. I've created an example which
Okay.
can be solved, then you can help me. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can download it.
Okay, I'll probably. There we go. It's 2020 0626. This is Keven with an E from Mauritius. Yay. Okay, got that. And. Oop, not here. And I was going to get this one. Okay, let's do. Oh, I was already there. Okay, let's see. I got the file. Oh, nope, not this one. This one. All right, so walk me through.
Yeah. So
And if you.
so there are different sheets.
So I got AW changes. Yeah, which one you want me to pull? I see orders, rules, what is needed.
Yeah. So the first two ones, the artwork changes and the orders. So actually, what's happening is that we've got several orders. So we've got it's actually it's a pharmaceutical company, with a lot of orders, but we have artwork changes as well, which impacts those products.
Okay.
So actually, for an artwork change, we need to find what is the last order that will go with the old artwork and the first order that will go with the new artwork.
Okay.
And we have some rules. So for example, if you go, in this one, so you have the site exit date here, column E, and you have the implementation definition.
Mm-hmm.
So you have first column is the each project. Okay, so you have each project, one project in one artwork change. So for example, the first line is for the first project, for the product code 15001, you have an artwork is ongoing, which says that the last order with the old artwork, the implementation definition says that we have to look at the site exit date. So the last order with the old artwork has to go before the, 15th of July? 15th of July. And the first order with the new artwork, well, when the new artwork is released, it's not released yet. When it's released, then the first order has to go after this date. All orders after this date has to go in the new artworks.
Okay.
But it all depends on the implementation definition. What does the implementation definition says?
Okay.
So you'll see that I've put these are the orders on the second tab.
Yeah, so that's the second tab.
So I think there's a filter in there, but you have several orders.
Okay. Should I unfilter, or this is the only ones we should care about?
You can filter it.
Okay.
So you get all the these are all the orders. So all the product codes, column B is the product codes, and they've got their material code as well on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. So where it complicates things a bit is that where, for one product code, you can have several material codes that goes to different countries, actually.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at your rules. Site exit date, orders leaving site this date has to be in the new artworks implementation date. If no site exit date will apply. Ooh, okay.
And this one is what I need to get, actually. So I've done it.
Yeah.
Just to show what we need to get. For example, for the first project, I've put what is the last order and what is the first order.
So you want, for
example, the last project, we need to get the.
If you have this number, that's all you need, right? The other attributes you can pull based on the number. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna for now kind of hide this stuff. So last order and the first order. If you figure this out, then we're gonna be fine. That's the main thing we care about, right?
That is right.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was saying this earlier. I mean, you take a complex problem and like break it down to simple itty bitty steps.
Yeah.
So I might have you walk me through kind of slowly. So I have this AW changes and I have this set of orders, right? So what is the first thing that I'm going to do? Am I going to look for the product code here? No. What am I going to look for? Am I going to look for
from the artwork change, you need the product code.
So let's grab this one and let's just solve it for the first one. Oops. I'm gonna put it at the top. Oh, so we get here. Ooh. Okay, so I have this, and I'm trying to find. Let's just do for now. Let's just do what was it? The last order. So I have this data, and I need to find the last order. So what am I going to do? What am I going to filter on first here? Project?
So you need the product code. The product code.
Product code. This guy, which is where in the top list? This one. Okay, got it. Okay, so product code. Let me see. I wonder if I can color it somehow. So product code. So I'm going to say 15001. Okay, so that gives me these, but then I'm going to do a little bit more. What's my next step?
Okay.
What am I looking at
next? Now, from the site exit date.
Okay, so I read the implementation definition.
First. Yes. What does it say?
I read the implementation definition. It says site exit date. So I'm
so
going to
then
take
you know
site
that you
exit
need to
date.
use the site exit date and not the implementation.
Awesome, makes sense.
And site exit date 15 July. So the last order will be the last one before 15th of July.
Okay, so this one says
you will have the site exit date.
Okay, got it. I think I'm feeling it. So this one is either going to say site exit date or implementation date. So since it's a site exit date, I'm going to focus on this guy next.
Yes.
And actually this isn't true. Okay, cool. So I say site exit date. So I go from here to here. I wonder if I can put some little bubbles in here. Oh. Okay, yeah. So this was 1. This was 2. And then in this case at least we went 3 here. Great. So we go site exit date, and for the last one, what do we need? A date before this or after this?
Yes, last order will be a date before this. So in the table,
so let me sort this. So I sort this, and then I want a date before this. So it's not this. So it's got to be 20 February 20, right?
That's right.
Okay, cool. So okay, got it. I'm feeling this, mate. I'm feeling this. Okay, maybe I'll just do one scenario, and I think once you see me solve that, you'll get the rest.
Great.
Okay, so this is good. So all right, I'm just gonna take a screenshot of this. Keep it on the side. So folks, multiple screens help. I think there have been studies which talk about like multiple screens boost your productivity. I've had 2 screens for a long time. When I ran the conference, I got a 3rd screen, and it was invaluable for running the conference. I'm kind of liking it. I mean, I don't use the 3rd screen all the time, but I'm sure I'll start using more. Now, of course, somebody had posted on Twitter a screenshot of, I think, Marco Russo's home setup. And I don't know, I think it had like 7 monitors. It was insane. I'm like, God, how do you work? Anyway, so I think there has to be a drop-off point, So I do know that the studies have shown that if you have 2 monitors, it kind of increases your productivity. I think 3 monitors do increase, but I think, or it has to be some diminishing returns, or even a point where 7 screens you get too lost and you're not focused. I don't know, but if it works for him, All right, so I'm gonna put this on a different screen. put it here. And again, folks, when I'm working with clients and stuff, I do the same way. I kind of slow it down, take notes. Huge OneNote person. I don't use OneNote for this call because I'm afraid I'm gonna switch to something. Well, I don't know, personal. Like I have my notes with my coaches and mindset coaches and all that stuff in there. Okay, cool. So these.
I really like the way how you simplified it, actually.
Oh man, that's and frankly, yeah, I mean that's the only way I can do it, right? So cool. So let's come in here, and data. I'm gonna clear the filter. We can ignore this for now. So I'm checking if this is a table. This is not. I'm just gonna make it a table. Just curious, where does the data actually live? Is it coming from like a system in your
Yes,
case?
it's from SAP.
SAP, okay. And do you access SAP directly from Power BI? Can you connect to that, or is it
Well,
through like a
now
data
they are
warehouse?
doing the connection. They are just implementing Power BI at work.
Yeah. All right. That's great.
And
That's great.
the artwork changes come from another system called Web Center from ESCO.
All
But
right.
the thing is that we are not able to link the Web Center to Power BI. So I'm having to get the reports manually from Web
Yeah.
Center.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of the last resort. What I usually say is that find the most junior person in your organization, and if that's the only way you can get the data out, then tell them to, hey, you go in here, you click on this, and you export it every week. Anyway, it'd be funny if some of you get told that tomorrow and like, what? Does that mean I'm the most junior person? No, anyway, forget it. All right. Oh, okay. So I changed them to tables because that way I can easily get them. So folks, I'm actually wondering, should I do it in Power BI? I probably would. Yeah, just so of course Excel has Power BI built in, but
Well, actually, my data on Power BI, so it would be.
yeah. So initially when Power BI came along, like the Power BI desktop, I
Yeah.
didn't use it for a long time because I just felt at home in Excel. But now things have flipped. I feel more kind of at home uh, with Power BI. Okay, I guess we can use this file. So this is not dissimilar from what we covered earlier, which was Gary's question. But yeah, but I think yeah, this is still gonna be fun. I'm trying to bring up Power BI. It's there. There it is. Okay. Okay, so we can use this file. Nope. And go here and transform data. So again, folks, we kind of covered that with Gary, and one thing that I said was usually when there's like a lot of complicated logic, that works better in query editor. And I explain all the detail why. It's got the trash can. You can do step by step. You don't have to write a big monster formula. So I'm reaching for that. So yeah, in this case, I feel pretty sure. Okay, let's see. New query, new group. It's gonna be Keven. And in here, new query from Excel. Okay, go here, talk Power BI. Oh, interesting. Hey Hey, Jan, good to have you on. Hey, you know what I say? You're always in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. It sounds crazy. But I'm telling you, man, once you start thinking this way, it's such a relief. It's like, yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, most of our life, I know I went through, the feelings I had was, I wanted to be somewhere else but there, right? I mean, um, yeah, I just, oh God, that was so tiring. I can't believe I lived most of my life that way. I always wanted to be somewhere else. So it's everybody should have goals. Everybody should move forward, but before that, you gotta kind of accept and just relax and say, "Yep, I'm in the right place at the right time." So Jan, you're right on time. All right, so we're still going on. This party is still rocking. So Jan just joined on the phone, and yep, yeah. So hopefully we get a time to chat later. So I'm gonna pull in these tables. Orders. Oh, interesting. Orders one. Okay, big deal. And I'm gonna hit OK. And then we're just gonna do what we do. We're gonna step through the logic one by one, and I have my screenshot on the screen, and we're gonna see. Okay. Boy, how does? Okay, I'm gonna put this on the other screen. I'm gonna bring it back. All right, folks. So we got these two tables. Artwork changes. So we have that. So we're gonna start off with this table. And the first thing that we did was product code. We matched the product code there. Ooh, oh, this is gonna be so fun. Buckle up, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're gonna match the product code. I'm actually tempted to just filter it to one row for now. I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna filter it down to one row. That way we can focus on that. Of course, we can come back and remove this filtering. So Keven, I'm not gonna solve like all of your scenarios like you had like the site implementation day and the no rule, but I'm pretty sure like once you see me how I do site exit date, you'll be able to figure the rest
For
out.
one,
Right?
it should be fine, and then
Yeah,
I
you'll
can
just
figure out.
add that logic in, right? So we're just gonna do kind of the site date thing. So
Just one thing though, in the real tables, actually for artwork changes, you can have several artwork changes for one product as well. So
okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to pick one. How is do they have they don't have a unique key here, do they?
the unique key would be the project name, which would be always unique.
But the one project name can have multiple changes,
No,
multiple
you
rows.
will have several rows for different
Yeah.
project names. For same product, you can have several artwork changes. So for example, you will have one artwork change
Got it.
at one time. It get closed, and then you get another one that can open later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I think it would work. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of keep it simple. So folks, we're gonna work with the first row, and we're gonna go on the step one, which is to match project code with the project code in here. So we're gonna do that. Oh boy, deep breaths. I'm getting a little bit nervous, but that's okay. So we're gonna do a merge.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. So generally, in Excel, we would do VLOOKUP. In DAX, you generally don't need anything. Like people sometimes use related, right, and the function in DAX, which is not a good idea because your relationships do the work of the VLOOKUP. You don't need that. In Query Editor, when you do want that VLOOKUP thing, it's basically a merge. So so we're going to say merged by this product code, right? So again, just same steps that we had done in Excel. So folks, you have heard me talk about that, and I've mentioned this a lot of times. Human learning comes before machine learning. That's not my quote. That was a really smart dude. Oh God, Sandy was his name, and he was yeah, I mean, he worked in like AI, artificial intelligence, and that sort of stuff, and they were catching cyber criminals in China. Yeah, I mean, really, really smart guy, and he designed these AI models and stuff. And he said this to me. He said, "Oh, Avi, human learning has to come before machine learning," which is, you know, technically starting to become untrue. Now there are AI models which can learn on their own, but I think the idea generally holds. It mostly holds in any of the work that I do, right? So you saw what I did. I understood it first, and I'm gonna bring it back to one statement. So guys, you know what I was telling you, that you gotta dumb yourself down. I'm gonna add that in here. Oh, I don't know if it needs to be capital. So again, go back and watch it again. I definitely, right? I mean, if you really want to learn Power BI, I mean, this is what Power BI is, because Power BI is not DAX Ninja, is not M Ninja. Forget about that stuff, right? I mean, who cares? Nobody cares. What is Power BI about? Power BI is about solving business problems, right? So I'm going to backtrack, right? So Back to the Future. And when I was doing this 1 step 2 3 4, right? Again, go back, watch the recording, because it was a powerful moment. We got to dumb ourselves down. We think we need to be smarter. We need to be dumber, right? Because we need to break it down step by step. Why is that hard for humans? Because we don't work that way. Our brains don't work that way. Man, if we worked that step by step, we probably wouldn't have survived, right? We would have been eaten alive in the savannah by saber-toothed tigers, right? We wouldn't have survived. We are freaking intuitive. We are, pretty darn good. We're pretty good, right? So it's that intuitive brilliance of ours that kills us, right? In the DAX and the M board. And like, oh, this is so hard, right? So you want to slow it down. So if you rewind the video when you get a chance, this is what happened. I'm going to slow it down this time. I said step 1, product code, right? And then again, if you watch the video, and I knew the moment because I noticed it, Keven was intuitive. So he jumped to, site exit date. But I stopped him. Again, God, rewind, watch that part. It's powerful. I stopped him and I said, how did you know to go to site exit date, right? And then it became obvious that, right, so in a human mind, we jump steps, we skip steps, and that's okay for humans, right? So we say, yep, look at the product code, match the product code, or go look at the site exit date. But no, we missed a step because that was intuitive, that was too fast. No, step 2 was, how do we know to go to look at the site exit? That was this, right? So and again, I mean, obviously Keven was not trying to, kind of sidetrack me. Again, we move in these intuitive steps. For us, that's kind of obvious. For example, JAN is January. That's obvious to us, not obvious to a machine. That kind of stuff, right? So that was that's the kind of stuff you need to do if you want to get better at problem solving, which is what Power BI is, right? Kind of break it down in steps. So all right. Hopefully I helped in some way. So let's come back here. So product code, we match that, hit OK, and no, that didn't work. It's being used by another process. Okay. Whew. I swear sometimes it is okay that I have the file open, and sometimes it croaks. Oops, what just happened? View. I closed the file. Okay, so we merged it. Now, so I play this game in DAX as well. You've seen me play this game, and I play this game with me all the time, right? So, God. So sometimes you would have seen me play this game. I write a DAX formula, and before I drag it onto the table, I create a hypothesis, right? Or prediction, whatever. So I say this is going to show this value. And of course, for simple stuff, sum and all, I mean, it's obvious it's going to be right. But sometimes when I'm doing tricky stuff, and I would write something, and I would often, so guys, I slow down so much that sometimes I write formulas which I know are going to break, and I write them, and I let it break, and then I fix it, right? So that's how slow I move, and hey, I love it, right? That's right. So I would write it, and I would say, yep, this is going to break, and I know and I understand why. And I do it, and it's like, yep, it's broken. Now I'm going to fix it. Now, of course, sometimes the opposite happens where I say, yep, this is going to work, and my hypothesis is going to show the number, and then it doesn't. And if those moments happen when your hypothesis goes wrong, you have two choices. And again, this is a big learning moment, right? So hypothesis, fail. So sometimes something breaks, and people are like, okay, how can I fix it, right? And they fix it, and they move on. That is okay. That is fine. You fix it. That's good. But man, if you want to become great, right? I mean, good to great, there's a big gap there, my friend, right? I mean, it's like it separates the two. So what are the kind of things that people who get to that greatness, what do they do different? Right? And again, if you want different results, you got to do different things. Simple, right? I mean, what's the definition of madness? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You got to do different things. What do they do different? Well, what they do different is that when it fails, they pause and they understand how it fails. And man, it is painful. I'm telling you, it's painful because, oh God, again, you got to be non-human. You got to be an alien because we are intuitive. We work fast. You got to slow yourself down, dumb yourself down, go back to the dumb as hell DAX approach, which is ICAN. And you got to, okay, what's the incoming filter context? But you do that. You put in that pain because that's how you're going to get the gain, right? So, and then you say, oh, I get it. That's why it failed. Now, I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I do move on. Like I'm working with a live client. It's a 1 hour call. I'm like, whatever, I know how to fix it. I'm just going to go fix it. But if I get a chance, I come back and say, why did it break? Because in my mind, my hypothesis was that it was going to work. And I slow myself way, way down and fix it. So you can play the same game here. So my hypothesis is that this is going to blow up the table. That's my term, by the way, which is one row is going to result in multiple rows. And earlier, again, if you rewind and watch it again, I expressed some fear. Man, you should always feel some fear. Courage is not about absence of fear, right? Courage is feeling fear and overcoming it. Because if you don't feel fear, you're crazy or a sociopath, one of those things, right? Yeah, there's something wrong with you fundamentally. So feeling fear is good because usually this is a no. This is the worst thing you can do to your data because when one row ends up in multiple rows, you can distort data, right? I mean, your sales, instead of being 29 million, it can show up 35 million, or depending on what you're doing, or it can double or something unpredictable. So it's scary. It's a scary moment. So, I actually feel good. Like there's a reason that I was scared. Anyway, all right. So continuing on from this. So we hear artwork changes. So again, hypothesis game. My hypothesis is that it's going to blow up the table, and that's always a little scary because man, you can go wrong with this. So what are the tables? What are the columns that we're looking for? We're looking for a site exit date. So that's the only column that I need. So I'm going to get the site exit date. Don't need this. And again, my hypothesis is going to blow up the table. And it does, right? So cool. So again, I mean, if my hypothesis works, you can kind of move on, right? But again, this is scary because, man, I better get it back down to the original number of rows. If I can't manage that, then I messed everything up, right? So, but I'm pretty hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful that we can. So, okay. Oh boy, this is interesting actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go back and I'm going to bring in not just a site exit date, but actually, can we go back to your other logic? I did say I'm not going to cover it, but I don't want to lead you in a kind of a dead end where you have to backtrack too much. So let's walk through the second scenario a little bit. So when I see implementation date, so let's try the third one a little bit, maybe.
For the third one, then for the implementation date.
So hold on 1 second. I'm just going to do it kind of again step by step. So I'm going to filter it down to 585. Boom, done. And then it says implementation date. So now what do I do?
So for implementation date,
yeah.
So then you need to look at the market delivery date.
Okay. Got it. Perfect. So yeah, they had like a different name, so I got confused.
Yeah, and the step 3 would be implementation date in the table, in the artwork changes table.
Oh, of course. Yeah, bingo. Hey, we got this. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the screenshot here as well. Okay, come back to this. Hopefully. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since we might need site exit date or the market delivery date, I am going to pull both of them in. Because in the other scenario, I have the file open. Doesn't like that. Okay, so I pulled both of them in. And now, so I have this market delivery date and site exit date.
Yeah.
Got it. And maybe I'm gonna go back to this guy. Maybe I will prefix it. Order dot site exit date. Okay, so I have that. So I just changed the column names. Okay, so I have that one. Got it. And now if we go, my next step was, so I did first step. This one is done. I did I kind of didn't do the second step yet. So let's do the second step. So now I need to look at implementation definition and match a date. Okay, got it. If implementation day is site exit date, I'm going to use this. Okay, I got it. I think I'm getting it. Okay, so let's see. Oh boy. Man, this is going to be fun. I'm pausing here. So that is another thing about Power BI modeling, or in general Power BI work, that you would often have like a decision point. So I'm pausing because I have a feeling I can go forward in two ways. One is going to be like generic. Build a pattern which works for both this and this scenario. Now I do know that he has a third scenario as well, we should have talked about. So maybe...
actually, there are several other scenarios.
Oh, we have? What about the no implementation rule, that kind of thing? I saw that.
No implementation rule means you always look at the site exit date then.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, good. So again,
but
guys,
there are other dates. I haven't put all of them, but since if we figured out this, then it will be easy.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, good. So folks, so again, sometimes your paths shall diverge, right? Take the road less traveled. No, just kidding. So that's a good point. And again, what differentiates good to great? Frankly, the folks who are good enough, they kind of blunder past it. Yeah, they just move on, and they move really a bit too quick. Man, I'm really feeling, I don't know, if you ask for my definition of greatness, they kind of move slowly, methodically. Maybe that's just me, So your choice if you like, if you want to go on that path. But if you ask me, the great ones, they pause, right? And they acknowledge it. They at least understand that they are at a decision point. Yeah, I mean, it's right. So start noticing those, like, oh, I mean, and again, humans are intuitive, but that kind of is a downfall too. So you probably make thousands of minor and major decisions in Power BI. I'm not asking you to pause each one and acknowledge each one, but at least some of the, kind of the major or semi-major ones, start pausing there and start acknowledging it. Heck, start documenting it. That's the best thing you can do, right? So documenting it, and if you get a chance, if you're working with for a client or so forth, I often educate them about it. For me, consulting is always kind of consulting, training go hand in hand, right? So, if you hit that contact me button and reach out to us from our website for consulting, guess what? You're going to get training as well, because we can't help it, right? So I would tell them what I did, but also why I did it. And I'll say, yep, this was the decision point. I could have done it using I don't know, right? I mean, either DAX or Query Editor, and we chose Query Editor because of this, right? So the decision point for me right now is that I can either solve this one by one. I can say, yep, check is a site exit date. Oh, if it's a site exit date, then I'm checking this column and that column, right? Or I can make a generic pattern. And again, the right answer in Power BI is always, it depends, right? So there's no right answer. I mean, always it depends, and you're going to choose. And of course, what differentiates good to great is they can make these choices. They consciously make these choices. They weigh the pros and cons, and they think about it, and they pause and say, well, if I go this way, it gives me this. If I go this way, it gives me this. All right. And sometimes, at least in this case, if I go one by one, maybe that's simpler and more straightforward. It is going to generate more steps, and it's going to be less elegant. And if I go generic one, it's going to be elegant. It can even scale maybe better, and it's going to have less steps. So again, I mean, it kind of depends. And at this point, I think that's where the kind of experience kicks in, and you're going to have to go with your gut a little bit. So I'm going to go with a generic pattern for now, and who knows, I may walk into a dead end. I may have to backtrack all the way, which will be unfortunate for Keven. Hey, what's the time over there, Keven? Man, it can't be. Yeah, it must be late for you.
10:30 p.m.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, all right, cool, man. Good to have you on. All right, so I'm gonna do a generic pattern, and so let's go this. So I'm gonna say, what does this say? Site exit date or implementation date? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go back and oh god, you know what? Yeah, let's just solve this. So let's come back, and so either it said site exit date or implementation date. So I'm gonna say add column, custom column, and I'm gonna say date 1. I don't know, let's see. And I'll say if implementation definition equals site exit date. And boy, this is case sensitive, so I'm always a little nervous. Now, of course, if you want, you can do text.lower or something like that. So if then site exit date, then I'm going to use the site exit date. Actually, let's do it the other way. Implementation date. So what I can say is that if this is implementation date, then use the oops, sorry guys, the screen kind of flickers when I zoom in. Else, and from what I heard from you, the other rule is just site exit date, right? So if it says no rule, does it seem good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I obviously misspelled it. Where did it go? Implementation date. Okay, so we got date 1. Okay, and again, I'm going to check. So if you go back to this was filtered rows. This was site exit, and it should have used this one, not this one, which is good. Mm-hmm. We ended up with that. And we can come back and test other scenarios. But frankly, since I took the generic approach, the good news for Keven is that, I mean, frankly, I'm hoping that it'll solve everything. It wouldn't be just just one. So we got that. So we got date 1, and then we're going to do the same thing with date 2. So so what are we comparing it with? Oh God, give me the code, please. I'm going to copy this guy. By the way, really quickly, folks, the good to great, they also document very well. I may not do that in here, but you know, just yeah, they in part of the documented code is renaming instead of added custom 1, added custom 2. So let's add another one, and this is going to be date 2. So this, if it is implementation date, now I want the other date from the order table, and this is going to be the order. If it's implementation date, then it's this one. Else, else it's the order site exit date. Okay, I'm feeling it. All right, and now the real fun begins. So now you got to compare these two dates and find. So again, guys, I mean, you know, the stuff that I say, man, it's so true, right? So if you give this to a human and you say, "Yep, find me the date before this," I mean, you know, it takes you like, it's really simple, right? But then it's okay if right. So again, think about this. For humans, if you say, "Find me the," you know, like the date, the closest date that's less than this. For humans, it's intuitive, at least when it's sorted. If it's not sorted, that's a little tricky, right? For humans, it's intuitive, but then you go, okay, how the heck do I teach Power Query to do it? And that's where the magic, right? Human learning, machine learning, because machines are kind of dumb. You got to break it down in step by step. So if you think about it, so I may not explain all of it, but think about it. are you able to break down in step by step how a human does it? So again, guys, I mean, good to great. If you really want to get in this stuff, just think about this, right? I mean, man, pause the video. I don't care if you leave the video right now, because I think if you do it, and you can do it later if you want, that's going to be one of the huge steps that you overcome. Think about it. How does a human do it? How does a human do it? Right? Man, that's the good stuff. That's how you become awesome at this stuff. All right, so I'll let you think about that, ruminate over it. But I'm just gonna focus on how the heck do I teach Power Query to do it. So I think I have a way. And this is the fun part, because you can do it, I'm sure, a lot of different ways. And sometimes I'm doing this kind of stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sure somebody watching in the audience is gonna have like an intuitive way of doing it. Like, Avi, come on, it's I don't know. I mean, like, don't be dumb, right? I mean, it's right there. You can do it this way, or some smart ass function or something. And I obviously, I mean, if you've seen me, I don't work that way. I like go step by step. So my way is, and I think once you see what I'm doing, you're gonna be like, bam, that's it, right? So, man, maybe if I type this out, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But again, the idea is simple. Take the human learning, and then you gotta break it down step by step by step. That's all that is. So how does a human do it? And then you kind of translate it to the machine learning. For those who were in the conference, one of the amazing sessions was Data Story Architect, Power of a Data Story Architect by Matthew Carmine. Don't miss it. And of course, I like his term Data Story Architect, but he had this story about how a lot of like Harvard and other places, they're talking about this new role that's emerging of data story architects, but they didn't use that. They used the word translator, which is, I don't like it because it's a boring term, but it's quite accurate, because you see what we're doing, right? We're translating between the kind of the human mind and the Power BI mind, right? So again, I mean, for human, it was intuitive, like, oh, this is the date, right? But how do we take that and take the Power Query? And that's what we're doing kind of step by step. So again, I'm hoping that some of you can kind of see my definition, see the column, and you're already spot on, like, yep, this is how I'm going to do it. Do you know it? And again, good time to pause and say, hey, do I know exactly how I'm going to do it next? If you do, then it's awesome. That's good. That means you got the chops in Power Query. So date diff, and God, this returns in, what is the data type? This is like duration or something. I don't work with duration that much. I'm feeling, I'm thinking these are going to be dates, so it'll be easier for me to think in terms of numbers. So again, so you saw how we broke it down, and now, of course, how would you do it? You would find the, you would ignore, you would ignore the positive ones. And in the negative ones, you would find the maximum. Boy, I always get tripped up in the negative numbers. Okay, right. So that's it. I mean, we're like so close. We're almost home. This is the home run. So home base. Which one? Baseball terms. All right. So okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove number of filters. So we ignore positive. We don't care about that. So it has to be less than. Can it be the same date? Or it has to be less than that?
It can be the same
imagine
date.
It can be the same date. Okay, so if it's
same or less, yeah.
Okay, so I will say less than or equal to 0.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll do that. Less than or equal to 0. And if there was a 7:15 date, it would have popped up. And oh shit. I mean, we can do this, but folks, yeah, I mean, so we want to figure out the max of this. We got it. All right, we got this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to park this table and come back to it. Okay? So the way I do it, I insert step after, and I give it a good name. And good name, come on. Oh God. Big moment 1. I don't know. Save table 1. Let's just say that. All right. So save table 1. So I want to save it because I want to come back to it. And again, maybe some of you have seen like a brilliant way to do it. If you do, please share in the comments. I would learn as well. But I'll show you the way I do it, which is I'm going to go to group by. Oh boy, this is going to be really interesting. So, so if you come back to the table, in this AW changes, is there a column which never repeats? Like, if in the real data set CR_1 can appear multiple times, then that's not it, right?
No. These are the project name is unique.
Project name is unique. Oh, thank
Yes.
you. Whew, okay. We could have worked around it with an ID column, but so what I'm going to do is, so now we know that project name is unique. So I'm going to say, for each project name, give me the maximum of this date diff. Maximum of date diff. You see how we're kind of inching closer, and you see how well, in a way, how much more painful this is than the human step, right? I mean, we can do it like that, but yeah, so you gotta kind of slow it down and endure a little bit of pain by doing it at the pace of kind of the machine. So, but the good part is, once you teach the machine it, of course, it can do it much faster than the human. That's what we're aiming for, right? So it'll say max date diff. So we got this for each project. Give me the max date diff. And, oh, of course, I have the file open. Okay, come on, Power Query. Refresh. So I'm expecting one row, and again, this could be a hypothesis and so forth. So yeah, so CR1 146, CR1 146, right? So this is good. This is really good. And this, what we're gonna do, guys. I mean, I think I show this in the advanced module inside my course. So in the advanced query editor, but this is one of my favorite techniques, and I think there are a few things. There are just a few things. Again, the funny thing is that both for DAX and M, there's not a lot that you need to master, right? I mean, the core concepts are very, very few, and boy, I mean, this one, might as well. Give it a gold star right here. So yeah, I mean, I think the scenario was, yeah, it's definitely fits real business scenario, and was straightforward. It didn't take that line to understand, but you see how it's been a bit of a dance. And again, folks, enjoy that journey, right? I mean, even if you get stuck once in a while, you gotta enjoy that journey, because that's what it's all about. So certainly gold star, because so much came out of it. So Power Query, the two things that I can think of right now is, one is really understanding when you need reference versus duplicate, right? When you go to a query and you wanna do one of these, but do you always know which one to use? Sometimes do you get in trouble? Where you, So that's a key one. And this, what I'm showing you, is self-merge. And frankly, it's not that hard. I mean, frankly, if I can do it, man, anybody can do it, right? But it's one of the cool tricks. So basically, what we need, so if you think about it, we need to merge this guy with this guy, and that's what I mean by self-merge, right? I mean, it's merging within the same table. So I want that max value over here. So I need to merge these two tables, and what I'm going to do is maybe I'll also insert step after, and I'll rename it save table 2. So give it a good name, save table 2. And often when I do this kind of stuff, I also do marker steps in my query editor, and I'll show you kind of what I do. These are dummy steps. They don't really do anything, but they're a visual indicator. I don't know. Wait, it doesn't matter, right? So visually, I put these things, and then I say I'm doing something else. So let's also insert something here. Rename B. I don't know. Okay, doesn't matter. All right. So again, folks, what I did was kind of these visual indicator. I leave that because I want to remember that something special happened here. And now everything, actually, cool. So what I'm going to do is kind of for step B, I'm going to jump back to save table 1. Actually, that's one, that one is definitely called, That one it comes pretty quick, which is, so generally if you look at steps in Power Query, each step refers to its previous step. So look at this. This guy, artwork changes, refers to the step before that. Change type refers to artwork changes table, the step before that, right? And filtered rows. So yeah, that's how generally it works. But the first time you realize, and again, we do cover it in the advanced course, is that you don't need to be that way. You can refer to anything at any point, right? So what I did was, in this step, I referred to save table 1 because I want to start there. So save table 1, and folks, yeah, I'm not that good at M, so I try to avoid writing M whenever I can. So somebody smarter than me would have just typed out the merge. I'm not gonna try. So what I do is this, and it may seem stupid, but I do just a random merge, just merge with anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit what you merge it with. So I'm gonna say, yeah, date diff. So I merged with something, and oops, that didn't work. Product key, yeah, okay, cool. So again, doesn't matter because I don't like writing M. So now this gives me the M, and I can handle this one. So now I say, yep, I want you to merge save table 1, and that's why I said give it good names. Oops, I messed that up. Save table 1 on date diff to save table, table 2, save table 2 on date diff. Is it right? Left outer. Okay, hopefully I got it right. We wouldn't find out in a bit. Oh shoot. Oh, date diff. What is this? Max date diff. Oops.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so far so good, but we're not going to know until we expand it, right? So now we go, and oh my god, fingers really crossed this time. And I'm expecting, again, hypothesis. Oh god, that's not what I was expecting. Oh shoot, I made a mistake. The merge, embarrassed. The merge was on project name. What am I doing? Well, could you do? Yeah. Sorry. Go back. Merge was not on date diff. It was on project name, because I want to figure out for each project name. So okay, project name. That was silly. Which is good because I caught it because I had a hypothesis in my mind. I wanted to see 146 for each row. Each row should have returned that max number, and I didn't see it, and I had to go back. Right. So let's if you go to expanded max, yep. So this was my hypothesis. We should see max date here, right? So Power Query, it's kind of a subtle thing, but once you get it, you get it. So Power Query is very row based. Anything you need, it has to be on that row, otherwise it doesn't exist, right? So here, if you go back all the way to save table 1, and again, it's so intuitive for humans, and guys, that's why it's painful, right? So for us, we can figure this stuff out. But in here, see, if you think about it, again, break it down in step by step. Power Query is very row based. So we visually can see that this is the less number, but for it to work in Power Query, you gotta put that value that you compare it to in the same row. So again, I mean, you've seen this dance between kind of humans versus machines kind of thing, right? And hey, I think there's a long time before machines take over, because this is how painful this is. All right, no, let's not use that word. It's fun. It's right. As I said, you gotta enjoy that journey. So you gotta be on the same row. So again, you see how we're kind of inching closer to the finish line. We're getting there inexorably, guys, and that's what matters: forward progress. So now I can say, yep, if this matches this, that's the row I want, and that is gonna put us back on a good step. Because if you remember, I talked about fear when we blew up the rows and when we went from 1 to poof. And I can't emphasize more how important it is. If you blew up your rows like that, man, you better get back to the same number of rows. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your data set. And we are just one step away from that. Well, actually, maybe 2 steps away. Okay, so we're going to do add column, custom column. and we're gonna say match basically. So we're gonna say, yep, give me the match, and here we're gonna say, give me, well, yeah, just compare this to. So is date diff equals max date diff equals max date diff. Come back here, hit OK, and again I'm expecting false true, simple. So again, right, this step is big because we went from blew up the number of rows, and now we're gonna go back to the same number of rows. And I kind of cheated initially to make things kind of easier to understand, and I'm glad I did because man, this is complicated enough, right? I mean, so but we can go back and test it without the initial filter to the one row. Remember, we're right now only solving for one row, but because of the approach that I took, again, remember we were at decision point, and I chose to solve it in a generic fashion. Even though I'm solving it kind of for one row, I'm expecting it to work for all rows. So wow, that's it. And now, the best part, the garbage can, right? The trash can. That is the best thing by far. Imagine a kitchen without a trash can. Oh my God, it's going to be horrible. And imagine building a model without, query editor in the trash can. So now you can chuck everything away. Oh my God, how much garbage do we have? Oh, we got a ton of garbage. And sometimes I keep it for a little bit if I need it for debug. But all of this stuff is garbage. We don't need it, right? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to remove it because we might need it for debug, but you can remove it, and you should in a real production model. So I'm going to leave it, just let it sit here for a bit. All right, so actually, oh man, I lost track. So let's go back to this. I want to make sure we got to the end result. So for this one, the right answer was 20 Feb 20. So we haven't actually done that. Oh yeah. So the right answer is actually date 2. So that's the only column.
And then we.
Oh wait, no. Oh man, I messed up actually bigger. So if we go back, it is not the date we cared about. We cared about that number that identified
The
it.
PO number, yes.
Yep, bingo. So I'm gonna have to go back and backtrack a little bit. So again, folks, we wanted the PO number, right? That was one. That's the one last order PO, right? So that's the one we cared about. Okay, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and come back here, and I'm gonna, when we had expanded, blew up the rows. So we had gotten here, and then when I had expanded it, I had gotten market delivery date, site exit date. I'm just gonna add one thing here, and by the way, folks, make sure you turn on the formula bar. That's the way to progress in Query Editor. So make sure it's turned on. It should be turned on by default, I think. But and once in a while, you would say, oh, I know how to do this in here. And that's how you get started on M. All right, so in here, I'm going to go back to, well, what was the table called? It was called in orders. It was PO, just PO. Okay, so I'm going to say in this list, I'm going to say I also want the PO, and I'm going to call it same prefix order.po. Oops. Order.po. Oh, I should have used quotes. Okay, and frankly, I still kind of get it wrong sometimes. Oops. Did that work? Oh, it's doing its thing. Oh, it's going to complain about the file being open. I sometimes copy the source file just so I can have it open or something. So if we come here, yeah, I don't know why it's giving me this red thing, but so we got all that PO, and now if I come back all the way, filtered rows, we really want the order PO. Maybe I will delete the stuff that we don't need. So market delivery, exit date, date 1, date 2, date diff, all of that in the trash can. Oops, what is it doing? Oh God, don't do that. Okay, sorry guys. Let's say match and order delivery date. I do want to keep the order PO. Remove columns. Okay, so now for this row, we got 60020. I'm just gonna, I am gonna copy this file. So I just want to see the first case, and oh well, that's not good. What? You got a different result. Wait, is it the? Are we looking at the right one? What happened here? So CR1 14 June 20, site exit date 15 July 20. That should have been. Let's try it again. So CR1 15001, we got that, and then 20 February 20. It should have been this, right? This guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can ignore what it says here, or we? Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Why is CR1 duplicated though? CR1. Oh boy. Yeah, there's something in the what is needed
because
to.
It's got two material codes actually in the orders. Because, for example, one product can go to several countries. So if it got only one country, it will have only one material code. So if you go in the order file, you will see that there are several material codes. Like here, for example, you have two lines or one.
So mate, we lost track of that. So sorry, we might not have to go back and solve it, but we missed something in that human learning phase because I never learned that step. Because the way I did it, the answer was this 20 February 20. This would have been the right answer, and that's what I programmed for. But it seems like there's some other logic. I'm hoping you can you can factor that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, the logic we had discussed and I followed and I built just had this,
good.
but there's something else. So cool. So this was 60020. So yeah, so what we ended up with, I mean, you're right. So it's not what is the answer on here.
20. So what did I put? 16. Why did I put 16?
Yeah, frankly, I'm not even understanding yet how come it ended up with 2 rows. Because
2 rows because there are 2 material codes. You will see that there are 2 material codes there.
Oh,
you see in the
wow.
order file, the first column is material codes.
Oh,
so for
man.
one product, product, you have material codes is representing the countries, for example.
Okay, so you're probably not going to be able to go back and factor that in. But folks, I mean, you realize...
but it's fine because I understand the logic.
Got it. Perfect. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and hey, that's always my
The
goal.
way you work it, step by step, that's
perfect. And folks, I mean, that's how we try to do things and talk Power BI. I don't know, because I would rather teach you to fish than fish for you, right? So, I mean, obviously, you've seen it takes us a lot longer because, man, I'm always thinking out loud. I'm talking to you about decision points, what's going on in my head. But again, my goal is to kind of teach you to fish.
Definitely, you got the right result actually. The 20 finishing by 20.
I understand. Yeah, so you're gonna have to kind of factor the material code in, and based on that. Okay, cool. So so now of course the big test. So the big test is, so we had one of this scenario, and then if we go back to the second screenshot, so for the first answer we got 60020, which is good. We validated that. Now of course, so we can spot check the other scenario, CR3, and for CR3 implementation date 20 November 2020, and for that the right answer, market delivery date. Actually, let's just go back and do that really quick. So let's go to CR3, and we put it here, and we look at the product code first.
Yes.
And this guy, we filter that. We go implementation date, which is this in this case, 20 November, and we look at market delivery, and find the minimum one, which is I guess the 5 one. So 20 November 20, and I do have to sort it. So sort it, and so that again, I mean, for humans it's so easy, right? I mean, so we get
when it's saying implementation date,
yeah.
it's different from start exit date. Now it has to be the first one after this date.
Oh God, okay. So you can, so again, folks, I mean, you see the gap here, right? And the gap is simply human learning, machine learning, right? So and obviously, I mean, this is a complex scenario, and maybe I got lucky because we didn't think of this, but yeah, so right, so there's that step. Now, of course, that I didn't know about that step. I hadn't learned that from Keven at that point, so I didn't program it in. It's the machine doesn't know, so Keven would have to go back and factor that. So Keven, so you do have some homework. I was hoping I'm going to get you all the way home, but this is good, right? I mean, this is going to be great practice for you. So you're going to have to factor in the logic for the material code. That's homework for you, and you're going to have to factor in this thing where it's like, oh no, now we don't look at the one before. We want to look at the one after, right? So it's going to be this one, right? Perfect. So right. So you factor it in, and hey, folks, I mean, this is great. So, God, how do you get these files? We used to have a link for this. Maybe we do. I'll see if I can put the link out for everybody. So if you want to practice and say, "Yep, I want to do exactly that homework that Kevin's gotten, and I want to factor that in," like, how do I do it in material code? How do I factor in the slight twist in logic? Because I know it's not the date before, it's not the date after. So I'm going to ignore the Kevin's logic, and because we didn't program it. And as far as the machine is concerned, the right answer is 23 October 20. And the PO should be 599, 00021. So again, we're going to go back and check it, and I'm going to go back and filter rows, and in here it says CR1. I'm just going to change it to CR3. And again, folks, I said formula editor, formula bar, turn it on, and whenever you look at the formula bar and like, oh, I can change it there, go change it there, because it's going to get you comfortable with tweaking around. And once in a while, you probably saw me do it. I mean, I would type something which I think is going to be really simple and easy, and then it breaks. But that's the fun. That's how you learn, right? And say, oh, shoot, what did I do, right? So, and I don't know why. How do I? Oh, I clicks this, I guess. So I'm going to filter CR3. And again, the final result I'm looking for is, as per this logic, 5900021. So again, moment of truth, right? So, man, this is a big moment because, again, I mean, in my head, this was all generic, and it was supposed to work with both paths. Here we go. Woo! Bingo. All right. So again, it's not the logic that Keven needs, but as far as the logic is programmed, it works. It's generic. And of course, now you can go back and get rid of the filtered rows. And now you're going to do another test, which is the most crucial test, which is that your number of rows didn't grow or shrink, because that's going to be a disaster. So I'm going to remove this filtered rows. Right. So we don't filter it. And then I'm just going to kind of sit and see that how many rows did we start off with? Okay, we'll let it. Oh shoot! Oh no, I have a copy open now. That's good. Okay, so in our source data, we start with 4 rows. Now if you look at the blow up, it's gonna be much worse. So again, 4 rows, and now if you look at the blow up, and again, this would have been a good hypothesis moment where can you predict, like, what's your estimate, or maybe an accurate guess. Accurate guess doesn't make sense. But yeah, how many rows would it expand to? I mean, can you do that in your head? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Doesn't matter, right? But yeah. So yeah, have fun with these hypothesis moments, because those are awesome, right? So I said, I mean, this is going to blow up much worse, and yeah. So you see, it basically becomes a multiplication of the table. What is it called? Outer join. That's what it is. Is it? Maybe not outer join because it's by product code. Anyway, all right. So yeah. So 16 rows. And if we don't get back to 4 rows at the end, we messed up. Might as well go home. Definitely don't show it to the customer, right? I mean, or your client, right? So again, moment of truth, we go back and we say, did we come back to 4 rows? And we did. Whew. All right, you can dodge that bullet. Now, of course, in Kevin's real logic, you wouldn't actually end up with 4 rows, because there's a scenario where if it is multiple material codes, then you do end up with more rows. That's it's always a little scary, mates, because I mean, yeah, because it's easy to check, oh, we started with 4 rows, we ended with 4 rows. But if you're like, oh, we grow, but by some amount depending on the data. That's but yeah, hey, if you do the right thing. All right, cool. So folks, yeah, gold star all the way, because man, we hit so many points about this Power BI stuff. And guys, yeah, you gotta enjoy this journey. That's the first thing that I would say. You gotta enjoy this journey, and the stuff that I say, I would say, hey, ignore it at your own peril, because you may not realize, but that is important stuff. And what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is what I was saying to Jan earlier, and I'm gonna say it again. All right? It's you're always in the right place at the right time. And so that's what I heard from my coach, and it changed my life. Changed everything. Not just professionally, but kind of personal aspects too. Everything. And then I added one more. And I should go back to my coach and tell him that. And I added, and doing the right thing. Because, you know what I mean? Because we'll always think about it, and we spend so much time, man, in the past, guilt or anxiety or worry or something, some judgment, some crap, or worrying about the future, all of that sort of stuff. Forget all of that, right? It's like, it's like you're in a boat and you're trying to paddle really hard, and that's what people do, and that's what I talked about in the conference too, guys. Throw that stuff out the window, right? What do people do to be successful? And what was I doing, right? I was working hard and I was learning, right? Right when my son was about to be born, I went ahead and enrolled myself in a master's program in the University of Washington, Master's of Computer Science. And I'm like, oh my God, like once I get, and that's how it always goes, right? So think about it, right? That's how I lived 40 years of my life. Well, ignore the childhood, but up to that point, right? The mind goes, oh, I'm going to work hard now. And when I get to this point, when I get the promotion, whatever, when I end up working at Microsoft, whatever bullshit you have in there, because it is bullshit, because, it doesn't work. And you say, when I get there, then I'm going to live my life. And this is called deferred life plan. Then I'm going to travel more. Then I'm going to spend more time with my kids. Then I'm going to focus my health. Fuck that, guys. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And please, if you're past 40, you may already realize it. I hope you have, right? I realized it at 40. If you're younger than that, you don't have to wait till you're 40 and you're wondering where the F did your life go? And you're wondering and asking yourself, is this as good as this gets? Is this it? I just got to do the same grind for 20, 25 more years, and then what? Right? Then live my life? That's the worst form of deferred life plan. I saw my dad do it. It breaks my heart, right? He toiled all his life. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be critical, because those times were different. Now you have a choice. Look around you. The world has changed, right? So this mindset that, oh, I'm going to work hard and then do this, right? And of course, I had the same mindset when I enrolled in my master's. Like, oh yeah, I know my first child is be born, but I got to do this, because once I do this, then everything is going to be fine. Then I'm going to be here, and then I'm going to be awesome, and then get this job. Whatever bullshit that's going on in your head. And I saw freaking bullshit, because it doesn't work. Look back, right? Look back. How many times have you repeated the cycle? None of that shit works, right? So when that happens, then I'm going to focus on my family, all of that. And hey, I missed out on my the childhood of my first child. I just focused. I was busy doing homework. I would lock myself in my bedroom / study room, and I was busy doing homework. And guess when my second child was born, I'd been laid off on a new job, and then I was on the hard work track. Oh, I got to work hard because I got to get there, and I can't do this now. And once I get there, then I'm going to spend time with family. Again, freaking bullshit, right? So none of that matters, right? And again, I'm not saying throw that out of the window. I'm not saying become lazy. I'm not saying don't learn. But don't think that those things will get you where you want to go. That's the biggest illusion that makes me angry. And I don't know, guys. Right now, I'm like, I blame it on our education system, because that's, I think, where it's really ingrained, and it's prevalent in society as well. But at school, they beat this into us that you gotta learn more. And again, I'm not saying don't do those things. I'm not saying that those things don't matter. Stop learning. Stop working hard. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying disconnect that from the results that you think it'll get. Disconnect that from your mind. All right. So if you do disconnect that, what happens is that now it opens a portal a lot of these possibilities. Now you're living in the question. Because once you have the answer, you know the answer. You're like, oh yeah, I got to work hard to get there. But you have closed off all other possibilities. But once you come back in the question, then anything is possible. And then you can open new doors. And one door that I opened was that stop, running on this treadmill thing and start living in the moment. And that worked for me. And again, you may not open that door, you may open a different door, but at least come back and, start opening some new doors. Because the way to move forward is not to keep hitting that brick wall harder and harder. Because that's generally what we do, right? I was like, oh, I got my bachelor's in computer science. That's not good enough. I'm going to hit that wall harder. I'm going to get my master's in computer science. I'm going to get my PhD, right? Right? I mean, you just keep going. So, oh, I was working 40 hours a week. That was not big enough. I'm going to smash that brick wall harder. I'm going to work 60 hours, 80 hours. That's what we do. The way to progress is not to keep hitting that wall harder and harder. The way to progress forward is to open the door. But you can only do that when you bring yourself back in the question and you go, I wonder, right? So then I open this door, and again, you don't have to open this door, but I open this door, start living the moment, and what I discovered was that's when you are the most powerful. That's when you're the most powerful. That's when you can do anything in this world, right? So again, we want to get these things, but to get there, to get to all these goals, is to first be here. And we're not here. Most of the time we're not here. We're somewhere else, right? Guys, so be here. All right, so let's end on that note. Hey, I mean, I care about this stuff. Hopefully some of that helps. Again, take what you see fit. Question it, experiment with it. And yeah, all right. So we'll see you next time. And again, folks, so the Learn Power BI program, the folks, new members who joined, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. I'm committed to your success and to your success, not necessarily teaching you the DAX tricks and M tricks. We'll do that. We'll do that for sure. That's fun. I love that too. But I have a bigger goal. And again, what I said about kind of sharing a story, and we're going to give you the ladder step by step. So please do that. Share your wins in the group. That's like the step one. Anybody can do that. And your wins can be big or small. It doesn't matter. I mean, what I generally say is that if it brought you joy, it's like, oh my God, I figured out a calculator, I wrote this measure, something like that. If it brought you joy, share it, right? So, there's no comparison right there. So share your wins. That's kind of step one. And then we have the whole ladder built out for you inside the welcome module, which I had pointed out earlier. What is it? I lost it now. But yeah, so we got the dashboard showcase, all the way to the Power BI conference, right? And again, we're going to, at some point, do live events. Imagine yourself on the stage. And again, you don't have to walk that exact path, but even if you go a little bit, I feel that's where I've seen results, right? And if I look around, like, who are the people who are successful, men who talk about their work, who share it? I mean, think about any industry. Who are the ones at the top who've shared this story, right? And earlier, it was very hard. I mean, you had to write like a bloody book or something, right? I mean, those are the famous ones, like, oh, I wrote a book. And I've written a book, and, I mean, it takes time, it takes effort. But you don't have to do any of that, right? I mean, you can get started so easy, and we've given you the ladder. So if you're in the Learn Power BI program, keep progressing step by step, right? So again, if you come back to the question, it's like, well, I want success, and I want success for all of you, right? I mean, I want you to be rich and famous if you want to. Like, famous is optional, but I definitely want you to be rich, right? And why not, right? I mean, and again, opportunities are unlimited if you start thinking that way. So I want that success for you. By the way, I also want your inner success, because when you might realize at some point that money doesn't buy you happiness, right? So I want all of that for you, and that is what I'm committed to. That is my mission for you, to make you guys see breakthrough success at both professional and personal level. And I'm never going to stop. All right, my friends. Talk to you next time. Bye, Ron.